Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, so guys, we're here, and our audio is not wounded like it was just a second ago. We were getting that sorted out, so sorry we're late.
Has it started?
Yes, it started.
Okay. Can't seem to see it, but that's okay. Oh, there we go. Yes!
Yeah, 46 viewers, 36 likes. That's awesome, guys. 10 more people have to hit the like button. Nope.
Well, I already did, so that's good. Yes, we're back to TNG. It's been a lower Dexy filled bit of time, but this last episode didn't have much to talk about, so beyond our predictions, we didn't want nothing else to cover. So we're here doing TNG. Bit of classic TNG.
Mm-hmm.
And we're still middle of season 4, so a good season to come back to.
Mm-hmm.
And the Cardassians introductory episode. And talk about a focused introductory episode. You know, most of the alien races don't get so much treatment and time. So, yeah, it's quite a, it's one that's oddly like, well, yeah, it's Cardassians. But at the time, it's like, ooh, who are these people? But even in retrospect, you're like, it's the Cardassians. They haven't changed, you know? Apart from their look, as in apart from their uniform.
Yeah. But yeah, we got a super chat already. Olivia Julius, $5. Today's live is brought to you by OJ Designs, because not all sponsors have to be fake. And she's got her own, like, if you have a picture and you want it vectored or anything, send it to her and she will help you out. So there you go.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I'll start showing you. You can just chat to the peeps.
Please do.
Back in the mode.
Please do. As you saw, Olivia sent us a super chat, which is great. But the more we get, the more better it is for the channel, and you guys can help us out in that regard. You get your comment read, your question answered, your service pimped, if you will, on the live as well. Lots of great ways to help us, either by super chatting, like I said, that guarantees that we'll read out your comment or question. And I know this is a favorite for a lot of people this episode, so I'm looking forward to seeing some good comments in there. Also, you can send a PayPal. The information for PayPal sending is down in the description of every video, so check it out. If you do send us a PayPal, make sure you've notified us that you sent it in the normal chat, or let the moderators know so that we can read your comment or question via the email through PayPal there. So that's another way to do it. Don't forget the Teespring store. Lots of great shirts, lots of great merchandise and stuff in there that you can check out, and it'd be great. And if you can, please do. Lots of great links down below in the description of every video, so check those out as well. But like I said, the best ways to help us are to hit like. We have 60 viewers and 45 likes. We can get those likes up to at least 60. Come on, guys. Hit that like if you haven't. By commenting, it's very important. Sharing the video around, clicking the notification bell icon, making sure you're subscribed. You can also join the channel at the rank of captain or commander, captain, or admiral, and that's a good way to get your name highlighted, your comments read, all that in the chat. Shows us how long you've been a member and that you really want to support us on a monthly basis, and we really appreciate that. It helps out immensely. You have no idea. So lots of great ways to help us out and to be part of the community, get your voice heard, and all that on the show here. And so today we're going to be looking at The Wounded, which I know is a lot of people's favorite, or one of their favorite episodes. Definitely, I think the most O'Brien heavy of the TNGs, as far as one of the first to really kind of focus on him. Not really focus on him, but you know what I mean. He's quite involved in this one. He is lieutenant in this one. He's got the Starfleet pips, which is a little bit of a issue, but not too bad, I guess. And yeah, I'm looking forward to talking about this one because on a rewatch it was quite entertaining. So anywho. Yeah. I think Maxwell has a model of a Starfleet ship in his office, something you can look out for. Yeah, he's got a model of a Nebula class in his office. So, yes. But yeah.
Hi,
look, Samuel's back. Hi. Sweet. Oh, Jeff Jacobs, $2.50. Sweet. 100 next. Hashtag Wounded Lake Spike. Hashtag make Jeff pay.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, do super chat if you guys can. I mean, as with all things like this, we actually love to hear your thoughts and comments, and therefore those super chats are great because we have to read out what you say. And what do you think of this episode?
I've always been impressed with this episode,
I meant them,
and
Stu. I don't care what you think. I mean the audience.
well, you always ask me this time of the show.
Well, now I will, but I was asking them first. You get your own
No,
separate
no,
asking.
no, no. My feelings are hurt now.
So, Stuart, what do you think of this episode?
Oh, you're asking. Oh, sweet. Thank you for asking. I've always been impressed with this episode. I enjoy it. You get to see another ship. You get to see the Nebula class, I think, for the first time in
two
TNG.
Two nebulas, technically. As
Well,
silly as
yes.
that is. But yes.
Yeah. And we get introduced to the Cardassians and Mark whatever his name is.
Alamo.
Well, yeah, that's the one. He plays Gul Dukat. He's not
Yeah.
Gul Dukat in this, obviously, but we get introduced to the Cardassians. Him,
His cousin, Gul Madrid.
Yes, exactly.
See, he has he has the beard. Gul Dukat doesn't. See, they're very similar, but they're very different. There's a whole story about their mum and a different girl, and maybe their brother. The whole thing. It's a whole thing.
And Mark Phillip makes a good point. The captain has been wounded. I was wounded. I thought you asked me, but you didn't.
Oh,
but it's okay now.
Well
It's okay
done. It's good. I like
now. So no, this is a great episode of Trek. Essentially, Picard's forces hand, even though he knows at the end that there's probably something janky going on. He's just there to keep the peace. That's his job. He didn't need to go on the other ship and investigate and all that. There's a lot going on here that I really appreciate. Plus, I mean, you get to see the married life of O'Brien and Keiko.
Which was last week.
Now that they're married.
I think it's the first time really we get. I mean, that's basically a sequel scene from last week.
I forgot it was last week.
I mean, that's literally...
Yeah.
Yeah, finish the thing.
I was gonna say it's been a while since we reviewed Data's Day, so I forgot that was last week, literally.
So for them, I mean, that's unheard of. It's like, yeah, last week he got married. Here he is married. Oh,
yeah,
cool.
They're focusing more on this guy. Is he gonna be part of the regular crew now? What's going on?
Yes and no.
Yeah, well. So I don't know. I had fun with this one. Geordi's not in it. He has a line from engineering. We don't see him. I don't think. Data's barely in it. Troy's not really in it. I mean, it's a very interesting episode in that regard. There's not a lot of the main cast.
It's a galactic politics episode, not about this crew. It's about greater things. It's basically a DS9 episode in the sense that you have Cisco and Gul Dukat and the personal, and I guess O'Brien, but you're not going to see Bashir an episode about the Cardassians in the DMZ fighting. You know what I mean? So ironically, this is actually a DS9 episode in that regard. Yeah. Now, can I throw out something pretty early on? Does this episode give you Defector vibes? As in feel and tone, like similarity in terms of uniqueness?
Yeah, like the intrigue of what is actually going on. Yes, I would say so.
The reason I make that call out is because for me this is an extremely similar parallel of both very good because they're written well. Neither do their actions, like their action sequences, particularly amazing, although okay for the time. But that's not the point of it. They're kind of just there as that. Yes, look, there is action, but it's But they both have guest stars that sort of steal the show a little bit. This one has 2, that one has 1. Although I guess when you have the other guys, so yeah, they have 2. Both has a massive deal of information on alien race, a really good textural feel. Both have Picard being massively good negotiator, but also being 3-dimensional. And both, like, we really learn who the Romans are, we learn who the Cardassians are, and we get ship stuff. So for me, this is the Defector, but for Cardassians. I'm like, oh, cool.
And you get the feeling that the Cardassians can't be trusted, which I like. But you also get the feeling that not everybody is all warlike. Like when O'Brien says, that's what the other side probably thinks about us. It's not. We don't all want to be at war all the time. So I love that because it's the propaganda aspect of it. And having just come out of a war with the Cardassians, it's even the point is made for Counselor Troy to stay close to the crew because there might be bad feelings seeing the Cardassians on board ships. So really like that. Olivia Julius, though, throws in $2. Every man show hope for a beard like that. And Fleet Paw Swiftback $5. It's not you I hate, Cardassian.
Mm-hmm.
It's what I became because of you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes, very poignant.
Mm-hmm. Dark
Yeah.
room.
Yep.
Mm.
And Jarzia, $5. Love this episode, but the Cardassian makeup was rough here. Massette looks like one of 7 of 9's early clay sculptures. They had more of a pink tinge to it, more so than gray.
Well, that's the thing. The actual the prosthetic bits are still top notch. It's the hue of all of them is kind of, they look like, tanned Cardassians. I mean that's really it. And ironically, when you look at not Ducat, his shoulders, you always get a sense of his big broad guy in his full other costume. Here, he feels like a really scrawny thin guy. Like, the costume does nothing to benefit his frame. He looks quite weak in it. Then he's not opposing in this, and you can compare him to Ducat. It's more when he does in close-ups, that's where the makeup benefits, because that's like, oh, Michael Westmore, but they don't quite work together. But the thing is, you don't want them to be this big brute force character, because you do get 3 versions of the character, each with unique side arcs, none of which are actually portrayed as villains, and so you don't want that actually. So it's a it's militaristic, styrofoam, foam laid, foam whatever, but not militaristic in the same way. Yeah.
Your captain is most impressive. Puts in $10, and thank you, Jill. Yes, I am indeed. When one has been angry for a very long time, one gets used to it, and it becomes uncomfortable, like old leather, and finally becomes so familiar that no one can ever remember feeling any other way. I think that quote perfectly sums up the fandom menace. Just saying. Anyway, thank you, Jill. Yes, that's one of the best quotes from this episode. So.
Oh, I think old leather feels very random. I know it's meant to feel random, but it's just like it's very the way he says it is just like, this. I don't know. Like he's not, which is a good thing. You don't want a speech to feel like it's been rehearsed, but it doesn't feel a natural thing to say so much as yeah, sure, this. Okay, cool. Trying to help you, O'Brien. And it's some pretty hard stuff for Patrick to act on here. There's that moment where he basically, in his context, says, give the Cardassians the code to kill this captain and the crew. He's as far as he's concerned, he's saying, please, you're going to kill them all. This has to be done. And just because one captain's gone crazy, all the women, children, he's murdering. He's having them be murdered. As also I'm using the pejorative killed, but murdered. Like that's a hard line. If the Cardassians were nicer people, they wouldn't shoot them all. But obviously he knew they were going to. It's just weird that they didn't succeed. But that's a whole different. We'll get there when we get there.
Yeah, when we get there, I have something to say about the whole battle thing going on there.
But you know what I mean? He's basically saying, okay, I guess that crew's going to be killed now.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty dark stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, so this is I've watched one a few times. This is definitely one of my more watched ones. It's very, very slow, and it's actually a bottle show. But it's a bottle show with a brilliant sense of pace, tension, and characters sitting in chairs delivering good, concise dialogue, building up a scene. It really is just people talking in rooms and a pretty lackluster battles and a good resolution, but it could be more spectacular. But because everyone in it is fully committed to the bit, everyone's fully committed to the vibe. You get a super nuanced approach of Starfleet because it isn't about the war, it isn't about the peace, it's about maintaining what we have because it was so hard to get. It's a really interesting, grander moral episode. Although in this watch as well, it is a big curveball of all this war we've been fighting for years and years. You haven't been. That was the whole point of like season 1. It's like, oh, we're all fresh and happy and exploring. It's like, oh, we're fighting a war up until last year, up until season 3. We're at a war. We were fighting. Oh, look, war is fighting last. The Cassian border was, it really does not retcon well. And not just that, but it explicitly says he was fighting the Cardassians on the Stargazer. So this war's been 15, 20 years of fighting, which we know Starfleet's better technology, so I'm not sure how and why. But that's another question as well. It's a pretty shitty retcon. It doesn't work very well. Luckily, it was basically never mentioned again beyond we were enemies once. Cool. Because it's a pretty sloppy retcon, especially given how they're presented here as being not formidable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll have something to say about that, like I said, later when we come to that segment. So,
and I definitely have never mentioned, I would never have said he was in the Stargazer with him. That was a stupid thing to mention. I know it wasn't explicitly they were at war at the time, but if you're conflicting with them 25 years ago, and they attack you, that's sort of a war thing. But you can't be at war for that. You know, it's just that was a stupid reference. It should have been something, I don't know, something else.
mm-hmm.
That was dumb, but whatever. But yeah, it's a good episode. It's one of the best. They just talk about stuff episodes. You know.
Yeah.
You know, cut to people's reactions as they explain things that are happening in space that we can't see. You know, exterior ship. No, cut that. Okay, sorry. Interior. Worf says the ship destroyed. Cut to Picard's face. The thing's destroyed. We just saved $400,000. Great. Let's next clip. Yeah, it's got that feel, but ironically that adds more tension.
Yeah. Well, this one feels it feels more like a military drama, like Hunt for Red October or something.
Yes.
More like a submarine show, like
Yeah.
Balance of Terror was.
Yeah.
You get that kind of feeling from it.
Real heady political stuff, and I'm really appreciative that they bringing the enemy onto the ship the entire time completely changes the tone. Gives it such a no shows do that, you know. So good for them. There you go. That's my general thoughts.
And Olivia Julius, $5. Help the Jeffries Tube monster is on the.
Oh God.
Help the Jeffries Tube monster is on the run. We need likes to stop it. Poor Fleet Paw almost lost a finger. Yes, you have 105 people watching with 71 likes. Let's get to at least 75 likes, guys. I mean, I want to get to 100, but 75 is an attainable goal right now. Hit the like button.
Luckily, with Fleet Paw, we can just wave a light over it and the finger will come back. So it's fine.
Yes, this is a thing we can do. Because we are Trekyards.
So, opening scene.
Yes. They basically sum up the whole Cardassian thing. And they're looking for a patrol ship. They should be hailing them soon. So
having a meeting about something. Never learn what.
Well, then we learned that last time he was here or in this area, he was running from the Cardassians aboard the Stargazer. And running, sir? Really? You better believe it. I mean, yeah. Anyway, the Cardassians weren't impressed with him being there. He was there to offer a gesture of goodwill or whatever. And he went in without weapons. And basically they didn't like that, so they took out most of his weapons and damaged his impulse engines before he could even do anything. And
still escaped though somehow. I guess just at warp.
Yeah. Well, then we get the Worf, the Cardassians have no honor line, which you knew was coming at some point.
The Romulans, the Cardassians, the Gorn. No one has any honor. Worf. You know how you in Discovery era bombed people, suicide bombers? The Discovery era had no honor either. Yes, we know, Worf.
This we know for sure.
The only guy has honor, Worf. We get it.
And Troy says, there are allies now. We have to trust them. It's like, are they really the allies, or did you just sign a peace? It doesn't mean they're your allies. But anyway.
Yeah, they use the word like ceasefire, treaty, peace. These are all different words at different times.
Yeah.
And the first one is just like a ceasefire arrangement. But as exposition scenes go, from literally who the hell are these people to who are they, it's a rather good one. And giving them a direct Stargazer link certainly makes it more important. So we rarely mention Stargazer, so any link to the past is important. But the fact I remember they're just like looking out at this area of space. They're just here to do some other sciencey thing, like some random. They're not there to meet the Cardassians, and yet they also know one's coming to see them.
Yeah.
Because they're like waiting for them to come, even though. They say, well, you should never stay close to the Cardassian border because they're tricky. So it's kind of like gentle racism. Like, well, those darn Cardassians, if we stay here too long, they'll attack us because they're Cardassians.
Mm-hmm.
And Cardassians like to kill people.
Well, the line's actually, really interesting. It's not a good idea to stay too long on the Cardassian border without making your intentions known.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope they get here soon. It's like, well, okay. If you're expecting them and they're expecting you.
But they know your intentions.
Anyway.
You don't notice it until you think about it. The whole scene. It's like, so what are you doing here? Why are you here?
Yeah.
Why are you convoluted about the thing you're doing?
Misha puts in $10. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Damn.
After a week, a big problem at work just got fixed 10 minutes ago. Have some money. Why not? Thank you. We
Congratulations.
appreciate that, and glad your problem got sorted
Yeah.
out. Work problems are sometimes bad.
You know what? I hope the next problem that you've already got that's still there will be fixed in the next 10 minutes.
Things happen in threes. Maybe 3 will get fixed.
Beautiful.
Mark Felipe, $2, and we see Canar before it was Cairo syrup.
Oh, so it's Kanar. It's not Kanar. It's
Canar. Yeah, I know. A different pronunciation. It's fine. And actually, the way that there's thicker versions of it in Deep Space Nine, but also thin versions. It's just different vintages. It's fish juice.
I mean, not just that. The Quark gets real Kanar. This is replicated shit.
Yeah.
So I mean, the easiest. This is what we think it is. I mean, are we really gonna have the drink of an enemy that we were fighting till last year in a replicator of the drink we can serve on our ships?
Depends how good it is.
Well, not good apparently. Even some Cardassians say it's not good until you drink a lot of it.
Yeah, it's an acquired taste.
Until it's dissolved part of your stomach, it's not good. But once you dissolve part of the stomach and you just get past that initial burn, that's good stuff. But then you cut to Keiko and O'Brien, and it is a hard transition of like, oh, really? That's not what you're expecting. And it's like he gets to be not in the room. A different room. I mean, it does certainly set the stage, and this is also when we get like, oh no, he's a real character now, like a legit. He's the strongest secondary. We're not only married, but he's going to be in it again. And it's a decent scene.
Long story short, she's introducing him to the food she grew up with, and he's like, well, maybe I should do the same, because I think at this point he's probably had a few days of this kind of food, and he's like, I think I should maybe share some of the stuff I like with you. And considering he's Irish, I mean, I kind of like his kind of food,
Alcohol,
So,
alcohol. There you go. It's a 3-course meal.
And potatoes, which you can ferment into alcohol.
See?
So, yeah.
5 a day is 3 different alcohol-based potato drinks. Now, this is a weird scene, though, because the way it's played, they clearly didn't live together before they got married. Because they play it as if...
No, clearly not.
You eat this stuff? Yeah?
All the time?
You're going to eat it. If I'm making dinner, Miles, you're eating my food. Oh. Where's this come from? Well, so clearly, they feel like they almost feel like a fresh couple, even though they just got married. But there's some okay, maybe separate. That's fine. Live together. I mean, to be fair, that'd be a weird thing to do on your ship. Like you've got 2 assigned quarters, and you ask to, you just keep 2. It's fine. It's fine. It's like, why wouldn't this be part of the equation to have her try his food? Like they play as if, you want me to eat your? I never thought I should eat my husband's culture's food, not just my more Asian. Yeah, let's do. Why isn't this part?
But it makes me wonder how long they've been dating.
Yeah.
Because this is shit you learn during the course of that.
He's like, I hate all of your food.
Like how did they go to many meals together? Any dinners, suppers, whatever?
Yeah.
Apparently not.
Apparently not.
I don't know. It just seems weird. It seems like a very fast relationship.
Which is okay. I mean, both my grandparents got married within a year of meeting. Again, that was in the 40s, whatever. But yeah, they have decent enough chemistry, although Carl Meany's a better actor. He's obviously given better stuff to do. But you definitely see a lot of potential here. It's not so much that he's acting it the best thing ever, it's that you just buy it. He just feels genuine at everything he's saying. And that's the nature of a good actor who can just... Oh yeah, obviously he hates this stuff and he loves Irish. You get it, even though he might not. So that's a good actor right there.
I love how she was grossed out that his mom actually made real food and touched real meat. And he's like, well, she thought it was better than replicated, more nutritious. But it's like something that she never considered,
I don't know if she was grossed out by. I think just extremely surprised.
Yeah.
Like, wait, what? It's like if I said to you, Stuart, he's a flip phone, you'd be like, he's a flip phone?
Cool, man.
But well, you know what I mean? It's that like what? But you never really get this, and I appreciate the distinction here. We get that in DS9 as well. But yeah, I mean, if you live on Earth and you have access to things, get real food, and she's like, not fake food. Although I wish they had said, I can replicate as we saw with Picard and the cookies. It's like, yeah, you replicate everything individually, you bake it, make it different. I mean, you can still make things different. But it's a good thing. It also shows that her, Keiko's cooking is computer. Traditional Japanese this. Just, I made us dinner. I was like, oh, you didn't.
Yeah.
Whereas the thing that he makes later is clearly like handmade, or at least, more thought put into it. Not as a bad thing, but yeah, it's an interesting scene. And for the episode where it's about a Cardassian war, to talk about food replication ideas is a nice, like, okay, world building, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and then
Matt.
Then she promises him sex later.
Well, no, she promises something special for him later.
It's sex.
You just got sex out of it. No,
Look
no,
at her
you
face.
got a dirty mind. No, Samuel, I'm very disappointed in you. She's obviously wants to play Scrabble later.
Sex Scrabble.
You said it. I didn't. See, he's the perverted one. I'm not.
Scrabble's a dessert. Sex is the starter and the main and the first dessert. But it's a weird scene, like obvious. It's like, oh, guys, really? That's cute in a weird way. Fun.
Matt Deckard puts in $17.01,
nice,
which is awesome. I have never trusted the Cardassians, and I never will. I can never forgive them for the taste of their food. That's awesome, Matt. I love that.
Although, you can also say, for the death of my wife and children, would be, because that's what happened to Maxwell. So, and I'm impressed I remembered his name as Maxwell. Going in, I was like, this is the Maxwell episode, isn't it? I was like, I remembered a fictional guy's name that's in one episode. Yeah.
But the scene ends with a red alert, and the Cardassians are attacking. And so they increase power to their forward shields, and then they basically take the Cardassian out in like a few hits. And it's like, really? Okay, cool. It's a Galora class. I mean, I guess, I assume.
Yeah, and it looks great. Miniature, beautiful. I mean, is the word embarrassing an appropriate word for this fight?
Yep. It's not so. It'll be more embarrassing later, which we'll get to.
And it also devalues them hugely because
yep,
they shoot with full knowledge of what they can do and what they can't do. And they clearly don't target anything, because the Enterprise targets weapons and shields. They don't just shoot willy-nilly and cause no specific damage. And then when you cut to Gul Macet, he's like, I am very strong and powerful. And because, I can beat you up, right? He's like, good point, I surrender. Why are you attacking him then? If you're gonna lose, it's a weird. I get it's a Cardassian gusto thing. It's like, we think we're amazing, even though clearly you're a little bitch right now.
Look at the situation. They think they're at war, so they're coming in to attack the Federation ship, and then they stand down after like 2 hits, and it's like, hey, well, yeah, I guess the Federation didn't know we were at war. Ha 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 ha. But he goes on to say, maybe that unknown Federation ship didn't know that we, had a treaty because it attacked the Cardassian and destroyed a Cardassian ship. It's like, wow, really? Like, if you were at war, you'd be screwed.
Yeah, Gul Macet, you'd be dead. Yeah, but it does make him sound stupid though, because
it does.
It's basically like 7 of 9 in Picard, attacking a ship and losing your ship. You can't beat this ship, and this is why you have tactics. Like, it'd be fine if we had 3, right? And it's like, because I think that's what we tend to think of. It's like Cardassians are weaker, but in numbers they're stronger. But then, you need numbers every single time. But it just makes Macet look dumb. It's like, why would you walk up to a guy with a machine gun with a revolver? It's like, you might be able to get a lucky shot, but he's also going to shoot you 60 times in that second. And you wouldn't walk up to him knowing, let's fight, mate. It's like, no, you're probably not going to win that. And you're not going to win that. But like I said, I think it's just like a Cardassian gusto of, you know what? Fuck it.
We haven't fired our weapons this week. Look, something to shoot at.
Well, no, it's like I bet what happened is it's like the Bajoran from Lower Decks. I've been good all week. I haven't fired the weapons all week. Come on, let me fire. Okay, fire. Did it work? No. That's fine.
It's okay. I'll handle this. View screen on.
Yeah. Well, they did get some free pot shots, so the Cardassians got to have fun with it. Post-war phaser fight.
Well, they can go on and tell the story about how they battled against a Galaxy-class starship and survived to tell the tale. Yeah. Fleet Paw Swiftback, $2. $2 to scrub Sam's dirty mind with ivory soap. And Lookout Tower puts in £1 with no comment, but thank you very much, sir. So yeah, we get the first introduction of the Cardassians, and you get the stupid leather football helmet thing.
Luckily, only for 2 scenes. Comes off pretty
Yeah.
quick.
Yep. Which is good.
Very good. Well, the Marco Lamo does definitely... I mean, if he was only a one-off, he wouldn't stand out as much as he does, obviously, later, because we bring all that baggage. But he's very comfortable in the role. You know? Which is not every alien. He doesn't necessarily... Like, he brings a certain... You know, I know what I'm doing. He's not necessarily menacing. You know?
He's measured.
Yeah, he's in control of a situation he's not in control. So he gets credit for that.
Jockstrap helmets. Oh, yeah. Anyway, Picard's like, I don't know what the hell's going on, dude, but I'll find out and I'll get back to you. He's like, oh, you have 1 hour.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he goes and talks to the Admiral, and they confirm that it was the Starship Phoenix under the command of Benjamin Maxwell.
One of their best.
One of Starfleet's finest captains is what is said every time another captain is introduced, regardless.
Except in lower decks.
Well, yeah.
And that's okay.
And even here, the sub analogy continues because the Admiral says, I wish we knew he's gone on silent running, which is a term for a sub that's not receiving or transmitting anything.
That's good. Good catch.
So that's great. Yep. They destroyed a station. Sorry, not a ship. In sector 21505. And of course, the Enterprise is the nearest ship. So go find them, cooperate with the Cardassians, and find out what the hell is going on.
Well, I think it's the nearest ship, but more the nearest ship that is capable, because this ship can take out any Cardassian ship, whereas most ships can't. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if 1 tier down a Galore is equal match. Like an Ambassador would be equal, but you need that top tier, and there's only a few of these. So
I also like that the guys like, you of all people know that the Federation is not prepared for a new sustained conflict, especially after the events of Wolf 359. We have no fleet. So yeah, you must preserve the peace. Yeah. No matter the cost.
And I was also thinking, it's like, my God, how lucky is Maxwell? Like, it was more, you know, he was not sent to 359. Shit. Most of the captains were, you know, like a large percentage. He's one of the guys that survived. Jeez.
Under the command of Benjamin Maxwell. One of the only surviving captains. Instead of one of the best. Yeah.
Well, he's one of the best because the rest are dead, yeah. But then you get this scene where they decide, let's film it in this part of the bridge to be different. Which is fine. And yeah, we're gonna have, you know, we're gonna go check after we've been given amnesty to go into Cardassian space, which is all good, and it's a nice sort of sense of, you know what, we are at peace. We just have to get approval to go through. No problem. We're not going to get an escort, which is I thought they were going to. I was surprised they were allowed to go free reign because they were. And I mean, they have to send the 3 delegates onto the ship. But given the fact that they're not allowed to be armed, they're not allowed to have ships follow them. Like, that's basically that's no power at all Cardassians have in the situation, which shows how much they're being forced to trust each other. I'm sure the politicians being very like, just deal with this, guys. Just do whatever needs to be done right here. You know, whatever the criteria is, match it. We'll go do it. You know. But Worf wants to track them. Riker wants to track them, and they manage to compromise. I think pretty healthy compromise. And Picard, you know, I think his tactfulness is brilliant here. It's like, well, we can't have guards on them. They're allies, or at least non-villains, but we can't let them walk into the torpedo tube, sabotage it, and blow up the ship. So yeah, let's place guards there. You know, they're a bit bored. You know, we don't have much to do during the week. So you know what? Yeah, let's have them stand next to a door for 2 days. Something to do. You know. And
honestly, it's pretty justified considering they just fired at us. But
yes, it's true. Like some guys are fixing a secondary shield matrix with the Icelandia cores. You know, it's important. You know, yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's where he says to Troy too. You know, people might not be comfortable with Cardassians on board, so stay close to the crew, whatever that means. Just everybody she sees like, so how you feeling about the Cardassians?
Ooh. Yes.
Then they ask if anybody on board has ever served with Maxwell, and Data's like, accessing. Yes. O'Brien served under his command aboard the Rutledge. It's like, really? It took you that long to access?
Well, the real
question... when you catch somebody off guard and they're not thinking of the topic. It's like, Well,
the real question is, does he have the personnel records of the entire ship stored in his brain, or is he wirelessly accessing the computer mainframe? That's a real question.
Which is also accessing the mainframe at Memory Alpha or something.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be great if it's like editor, And because like that was too slow. It's like, excuse me, I just went back to the Earth with my brain to get data. But the three guys being on board in their full old costumes.
Yeah, and here we also get, so Gull is captain, and then his aides are Glyn Darrow and Glyn Tell. So I don't think we ever hear the term Glyn again, but I would assume that they're, I don't know if they would be commanders.
Or brothers. No, you're right. Yeah.
I don't know what it would be, but...
Although, would you bring your entire senior staff? Would you not bring specialists?
I really don't know in this situation.
Well, I think also the Cardassians do feel a bit alien. Their way they do things this episode is a little bit odd, which is good. You know, they're not just following normal conventions.
Mm-hmm. I love the shot, the look that O'Brien gives them, and then the glance from Troy, and then they walk out, and she looks back at him, and he's like she just read my mind. God damn it!
And you can imagine he's thinking, you know, look who's coming to dinner, and
yes,
you know,
damn Cardies.
Yeah.
Which isn't mentioned in this one. They're not referred to as Cardies at all in this episode.
No. Just butchers of women and children. You know, nothing too bad.
Well, yeah.
So
Facts, man.
So then we get incredibly slow impulse, not warp. You know, this ship we have to find ASAP. Let's stay at impulse because that's good.
Don't get me into that. That's going to be something that we mentioned a few times during this episode.
Yep. But we're going to scan systems. We can scan 10 light years at a time. And the guy's like, uh-huh. And we're going to start with the sector that he's in. Or what was in. It's like, uh-huh. Why not start somewhere else? We'll start there. Luckily, he did stay in the same sector he destroyed the thing in. Very lucky for them. And then you think, well, this is Cardassian space with a base that just got destroyed. Cardassian ships would surely be on their way to that base to find survivors, or they were already there. So why are there no Cardassian ships scanning the area? Oh, wait, there are Cardassian ships later in the area. Why are none of them scanning for the ship? Because none of them see it. Why does it take the Enterprise to manually go inside their space that none of the ships in local vicinity can detect the whatever? It's like if you can detect 10 light years and find it within about 15 minutes in the place it was last at, why can't the Cardassian ships? There's a real lack of like Cardassian presence in this episode. It's like you're in their space, this is their base, and they even find a freighter 0.6 light years away, like seconds away at the end. It's like, so this is a very active part of their space, and yet it's very strange.
Yeah. Jerry, $2. Who's cooler, Romulans or Cardassians? Romulans, hands down.
Yeah, Cardassians are more clear cut, but also they're more 3-dimensional. Romulans are more 2-dimensional, but more dynamic.
Cardassians are like a mix of the Romulans and the Klingons.
It's a bit of Ferengi too. I was conniving. What do you think about my comment about scanning them, not scanning them, no ships in the area?
Well, see, I think the Federation has a bit of a edge in that regard because they'd know what frequencies to tune in for or whatever, based on like what the warp signature is, the warp, whatever. They'd be able to maybe detect things, one of their ships a little easier. But I love how later, they find a freighter. How'd you know that? Oh, we have our ways. Never gets explained.
I read on 4chan.
Yeah. So I don't know. The Cardassians do seem a little bit imbecile-ish here, a little bit, because
if the ship is within 10 light years of the place it destroyed, still, and you know that, and I could buy it if the Federation ship is much faster, like massively faster, so obviously it can respond a lot quicker. But it finds ships very quickly. So, I mean, the Cardassians don't look powerful in this episode. I mean, they do feel if Alamos wasn't such a good actor, they would basically feel like a weak third power. And obviously, they are a weak third power, really. But then, how do we have a war with them for 25 years and not win? Unless it was a war of them continuously attacking us and us just destroying them. Because you can have a war. Because if they don't surrender, then the war keeps going. You know, if they just keep sending 15 ships against our star bases and we keep winning, but they don't surrender, well, it's still a war, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they're clearly not a powerful force.
Jarzy at $2.
Thank you.
Ducat had a story from his time as Glyn in Waltz. Oh, there you go. Some kind of rank, some sort. Yeah, but here the whole situation of the Cardassians being like, "Are you guys sure you're doing everything you can to find your ship?" Because and Picard's like, "Yeah, well, you're here. You're nothing withheld, nothing edited. You're seeing everything as it happens."
Mm-hmm.
But you got to put a spin on it. Turn the tables a bit, and put one of our people on one of their ships doing the same situation and be like, really, can we trust these guys?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you look at it that way, it's like, are you really doing all you can? Because I'm not too sure.
Wait, on which side? I thought
on any side. Like, if they were on a Cardassian ship and the Cardassians were looking for a Cardassian ship in Federation space, would you be like, are you really trying very hard to find your ship, or is this part of a plan? So from the Cardassians' point of view, the Federation look a little bit sketchy.
Well, obviously, going at warp 2 or impulse. Sorry, if you say impulse, then yes, it does look a bit. But Captain Picard, you should not be at warp. No, do everything we can. Just our warp engines are offline due to maintenance. How long is it going to take? Looks at data. How long till we find? I mean, how long till we maybe find? I mean, how long till we bump into the ship? 7 hours. 7 hours until warp engines. Yeah. But I like the way it says it. I do. I like Picard's rhetoric. It's like, or Picard's retort. It's like, dude, you're in all the meetings. Like, I mean, I can have meetings that are outside of your meetings, but as far as you know, I'm being fully transparent, and we trust Picard if you know Picard. So he's just like, mate, I can do nothing more than you're here. The fact that you're here in this one meeting, and I think, I mean, considering that he's also quite polite, Mark Amos is polite the entire time, especially on the bridge when, they destroy some stuff, he's sat there not responding. It's like, you would think, well, especially later Ducat would be like, oi! Da! But he just sat there like, they killed one of our ships. Darn. So, but it's a slow, slow methodical build, and they both want peace, and it's political, political talk. Yeah.
Jarzy at $2. The other great visible war was the Zenkathi. Yes. Eugene, 250 rubles.
Thank you.
I guess that war was going apparently the same way as in the latest episode of Lower Decks. What's that war? What?
I've already forgotten what happened last week. It was the one with
Badgie.
And the other one is against the ship with no weapons, and they just gotta take it. Yeah.
Oh yes, yeah.
It's like, well, their weapons can't hurt us, so just keep standing until we have to destroy them. Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Here's where we hear about Brian.
I mean,
Brian really, serving with him.
Really awkward pan. It's like this conversation is like pans. Oh, and this
guy's here the whole time.
Yeah. The guy's like, I don't like you, but not that bad. But just like you can imagine, he's just like, It's a really awkward, like, oh, he is here. Shit.
We learn about the massacre on Setlik 3, and how his family was killed during that. Getting a little bit of a backstory there. Wiped out close to 100 civilians.
But he's very, very, very keen to say, this is not about revenge. Because the girl says, oh, it's about revenge. No, that's not what he's like. And they do make a distinct point of clarifying this is never about revenge. This isn't an emotional thing. He's not unstable. Even at the end, it's like he's not doing this to hurt the Cardassians. He's doing this to save the Federation because, and unfortunately, and I'm sure we'll get there at the end, it's because he's not the hero. If this was Picard, and Picard knew best, and Picard had a gut feeling the Romulans were hiding weapons, and he went forward and he was right, Picard's the hero! But because of this guy, you can easily argue that Maxwell is a good guy, and Picard is a politician holding him back. Easily, But yeah, Brian's like, I mean, he has a reason. I'm not going to justify what he's doing, but he has a reason for it. This is not for the sake of revenge.
Yeah. Then we get Worf chimes in and says they found the Phoenix, so it gets broken up.
It's easy. We did it easily.
Then we get the whole turbolift scene, which the guys seem really nice. The Cardassians, honestly.
Yes.
Like even the mean looking one is kind of like the way he's looking back and forth from O'Brien to But the guy wants to look at the transporter system because they're using active feed pattern buffers, and he wants to see about their technology. And I got to get permission and all that. But then he says, we're going to 10 forward for a drink. You want to come? And he's like, if I get ordered to show you the around the ship or show our technology, I'll do that. But who I spend time with is my prerogative. And storms off. So,
what do you think of the scene?
I think O'Brien's a dick. But that being said, I mean, being in the Cardi War, I guess it's fine. I don't know. I personally would take everybody at face value, and you're not gonna do anything. Be rude to them until they're an asshole to me first. I know it's a whole species thing, race thing because of the war, but I don't know. I think it's a little bit closed-minded, which I appreciate later what happens.
The thing is, though, he's not rude. He's as politely dismissive as he can be without being rude. He just, he doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't say anything nasty. He just says, "I'll do my job, but I'm not going to choose to hang out with you." Like, it's not rude so much as just setting out the boundary. Like, they're not friends. I'm just setting out the boundary, Like, he doesn't be mean. I think it's a very important point, is that he isn't racist. He isn't actively mean. He doesn't say, "You cardy fuck." He's very, very, very balanced about it. Like, he has no obligation to be nice to these people. But he's not being mean either. He's just being... Yeah. But, it's like if a Nazi 1 year after, literally it's 1 year, if a Nazi goes to a Jew and say, "Hey, you want to have lunch?" He's allowed to say no. He's allowed to say no, so I can't blame him for this. But I love the characterization of the Romans, the Cardassians. They seem like just normal guys, and that's what you want. These are just people. Yeah. And this guy, I wish there was a third scene with this guy, because we don't really get closure to his little arc with O'Brien. I think we really needed that, especially as when O'Brien says this whole thing about him, he says nothing in return. He needed to say something. I wish he'd said, like, my cousin died too. You guys attacked our base and we lost people. It needed something else. But I appreciate the very it's a very balanced, we are all going to be nice and as much as we can be after war, and the fact this guy's putting out an olive branch, none of these guys feel disingenuous, which is a hard thing to play. Even Mark Lamos at the end with the warship stuff, with the weapons, for me, I read it more as, I mean, that's what my orders, that's what the orders are to do. I don't necessarily agree with it, but those are the orders. I mean, I'm sure you guys have ships on your border. It's just the way it is. I don't know. I'm not, So these guys yeah. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
But then, so back on the bridge, and you might have to bear with me or my computer's doing a thing again.
Although Nathan does say, it's very close-minded, especially when you consider how nice they are to Klingons or Romulans, other races they've been at war with. Yes and no. They've not been at war with Cardassians or Romulans in O'Brien's lifetime, or last year, or that he fought personally and killed a guy. So not a good comparison at all. It's better to compare Worf to Romulans because they killed his parents. So obviously that's a better comparison. I mean, no, they've never fought Cardassians in this lifetime.
Yeah. So they find the Phoenix and set course at Warp 6.
Yes, they do.
Which later we're at Warp 4 now, all of a sudden.
An important chase. Let's slow down.
Yeah. He won't hurt that ship. It's fine. Let's just watch it from a distance. Shit.
Thoughts?
And then, like I said, I'm waiting for my computer to load for the rest of the scene, but it's kind of an emergency situation. I would be, especially considering that they're making the Federation look bad.
Oh yeah.
I'd be hustling. I'd be moving my ass at Warp 9 to get there. Plus, you got to look at it from the Cardassians' point of view. Like, okay, so Warp 6? Seriously, guys? You can do faster than that, right? I don't know. It looks bad on the Federation side, I got to tell you.
I mean, now you've said all that, there is that maybe the slight subtext of we're giving him time. Because it's unlike a car, there isn't fuel to consider, and our ship is flying at warp 9 for a good amount of hours. Like there's no problem for going high speed. It's a choice, and the fact that they make a specific designation later of go to warp 9, we've got to catch up to them, shows that the writer understands warp his speed is important.
Even then, they don't do that. Go to warp 8 is the order.
Yeah, and then they go to warp 9. Yeah, no, he does go to warp 9 again, want to catch up to them. But you're right, it's like,
Yeah, but why not warp 9.46 or whatever it can do its top speed?
Geordie, what's about warp we can do right now? How many seconds? Oh, warp 9.97 for 2 minutes. Great, do that.
Yeah. Chase them at warp 8. Well, now they're doing warp 9. We won't catch them until in time to stop them from attacking the other ship. Oh, well, warp 9 then. Don't bother pushing the engines at all.
Cardassian lives aren't at stake or anything. The whole piece with them. It's very strange. It's very, very strange. And I can imagine Golmadra's like, can you only go warp 6? We can go warp 8. I mean, are our spies that off? And definitely the warp 4 was dumb. Dumb. I mean, because warp 6 and 9 is a huge difference. Like, it's like the point they go to 16 hours to warp 8, that's like 16 hours to 45 minutes. Maybe not that much, but I mean, you're cutting most of the time. It's a ridiculously different thing. Yeah, it's weird. Although you could argue that maybe they're not trying to startle Maxwell. Obviously, Maxwell knows they're in chase. As soon as the galaxy knows, like he knows, you know. I mean, he's actually on AWAC pod on his ship. He knows bloody sooner. I mean, he has much better scanners than they do. So maybe it's a sense of...
That's a very good point, yeah.
You know, maybe it's a pure polite thing. He doesn't want to scare the guy. But he doesn't seem scared when he... So, you know.
You're going to have to leave the conversation because my computer's...
Dude, hey, restart. I'll do the next scene. Call me back. It's fine. You need the stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. See... guys, everyone say bye to Stuart.
Bye, guys.
Bye. I see we went there. And then let's see if this will put the other camera on. Let's see. There I am. Hello. Oh, it's because our other faces are there. Well, you know. And I gotta make sure I turn this off before Stuart calls back. So yes, we get it's not mashed potatoes. It looks like mashed potatoes. Maybe it's casserole. The casserole scene where he makes his mum's famous casserole. Is that mum's famous? I don't know. Or I can just talk to the chat. What do you guys think about anything and everything? About O'Brien and whatnot. Captain Foley has Badgie in his computer today. Yes, he does. O'Brien revealed that she is going to be beamed through to Cardassians, though. Well, to the Nebula, anyway. They have minimum safe cruising and maximum safe, yes. Speed is probably a regulation issue. Don't know what the definition of emergency is. Well, this is a pretty big emergency. You know, galactic war, a 20-year war. So I think this absolutely counts. I picked up on the Walk 6 fiasco too. How you guys doing today? What is it? It's Tuesday? Monday today. Did you guys watch the First Frontier fan film that I did the VFX for? Hopefully you guys did. I was working on a Dreadnought Dominion episode this weekend, and I was working on a Neutral Zone as well. And today I'm working on a Romulan War. Bit of everything. I was working... What was I doing? I was doing a shot where we see the NX build fleet over Earth. That's what I made today. I was making today. I do try. I do find it odd that Keiko hasn't tried any Irish food when they were dating. Yes, certainly implied that they only... Yeah, only dating a little while. But that's okay. Speed limits haven't been implemented yet, no, but the ship has basic speed limiting factors of like, well, you shouldn't go too fast. But yes, the casserole, and she is not impressed. Well, this is one of those scenes where I think she's wearing the exact same clothing as the first scene. Yeah, and it just feels like, you know, they film the same scene and then the next scene kind of has that, like, the actors haven't really evolved since the last scene. Well, they need to, but... Fleet Port Swiftback $1.99. 102 likes, again at 150. See, there is the challenge. We need more likes. Only 104. I mean, that is shockingly medium. And someone said put the link to the... Yep, First Frontier. 447,000 views. Approaching 500,000, which is absolutely absurd for a fan film in the best possible way. We had 97 shots for it. Here is the link in the chat. Boop. Yeah, double guitar, there you go. Well, this is Joker, go watch it. And thank you, Squadron Course. I did a ton of stuff for that. What is the usual cruising speed, Jill? It is warp 6. They're going at that, but they should definitely be going faster. Isn't it the same day? That's why clothes haven't changed. Possibly, probably, but I mean the same filming day is all. And 0 BFNG. Yes, it was. Oh, that's just an issue. Yeah, you know, they said they would do a sound guide, but I guess they didn't. But yeah, for his first film, so you can forgive being the weakest at sound. Let me do this. Today's Orca moment brought to you by Badgie. Yes, but only the Badgie moment at the end where he's like, "I'm here for you." You know, that moment of Badgie. What does Eugene have to say? Eugene says, "The mutiny was successful. All hell, Captain Cockings. Yes, long live the Admiral Cockings." There you go. There you go. I mean, I'll just keep talking. But yeah, this scene, I have a thing when it comes to anything in TV or film. When people sing, I just get internal cringe. And so I'm just like, oh, I don't enjoy watching it. Music's a little bit different, you got that sort of music, but hearing him sing was like, okay, great, cool. He's not a bad singer so much like you buy what he's doing and why he's doing it. All I could wonder in watching the scene was how many times did they have to re-spoon out this food? Although one, I don't know if Stuart noticed it, but one directorial thing, this episode is very, very good with lots of long one takes. And they change the vibe of a lot of these sequences. And so watching him talk and sing and then really sort of embrace it and feel it, you allow the actor to really like delve into the moment. And then it cuts to Keiko like, what? Not the best editing in that respect. But yeah, an old sea shanty that he's singing. He's definitely Lieutenant. Lieutenant right there. And you talk about, you know, it's interesting. Basically, you know, the idea of can you be prejudiced and not know it. And choose Brian as a chief, not lieutenant this episode. Well, chief is not a real phrase. Chief is well, I mean it is, but it isn't. He's lieutenant this episode. They just call him chief, but you know, he can be chief of a division, even not at whatever chief rank is. But yeah, so talking about the idea of, and it's a weird scene because he doesn't realize he still doesn't like them, even though he doesn't. But if they play it as if it's not, I guess it's kind of very minor. Like he's used to not liking them, but he can also not worry about it too much. He's got initial mistrust, but it's not hate. It's a very interesting balance they've done here, and I'm sure Carl Meany was you know, instrumental in not making it go too far, because you know, he has to be told, you know, or asked, do you feel negative towards them? It's perfectly justified that, you know, they killed lots of people, and if you've been physically on the battlefield with these people, you're never going to be the same. You know, a war can be abstract until you're actually there, and then, well, you know, you're always changed for it. And she's unimpressed by the food. So you can hear there is some Stuart. Kill the mouse. So that'll work with me as well. Yep, good.
And I'm back.
Hello.
Hello. I hate my computer. Just for the record.
Casserole scene, Stuart. Give us your thoughts.
Sounds good, and I want to eat one. Just
cool.
saying. Hold on, I'm just trying to catch up there. There you go. Okay. Then he sings the song, which I really like. I like the old song that Captain Maxwell really liked. Did you read all the super chats, by the way?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
I said that I always get a thing where, except in musicals, because this is deliberate, but I get just a massive internal cringe when people sing in things. So I was just like, oh. Yeah, I would. If I was an actor, I would actively say I don't want to sing anything. You know, it's just cringe to me personally.
Yeah.
People agree in the chat. Not that he's bad at singing or anything, but
Squadra course $2. Isn't chief a duty assignment, not a rank? I mean, probably yes.
Yeah. Well, he's chief of that transporter room, but he's obviously lieutenant in this one. Not in everything, but in this one.
I like his little chat with her about, I could tell sitting in the briefing that people still aren't comfortable with the Cardassians. Why is that? She's like, well, that's to be expected after a long war. And she goes, well, you were in the war. What do you feel? And he's trying to hide or justify the facts, that he feels that way, which I think makes him come to a good realization, which we'll get to in a minute. But, yeah, the fact that she accused him took him a little bit by surprise. But anyway, that's kind of where the scene ends, where she calls him out, and he's like, "Me? No, I'm fine."
And it's odd, but I said it's an important scene though, in the sense that he's not being speciesist, racist. He's not thinking he's this. Like, he's not playing as, oh, am I? That's weird. He's like, oh, yeah, I mean, I don't like them because I know them, but that's because I know them. Oh, and maybe I don't like them because also, it's a, he doesn't think anything of it, and so he has to be told, well, maybe you do think because of this. But it's played so, like, non-racistly that it's important, because Starfleet's better than this. It's just human nature still comes in, And then you get future graphics, Stuart. But you know what? I prefer it to holograms, because this is very easily readable, seeable, understandable. Unlike holograms,
yes.
It's very, very, very difficult for all those things.
Yeah. But they called out the other one's a supply ship, and he's like, how can you tell that? We're able to make that determination. You can read our transponder codes.
And he's like his heart just goes, like, sinks down. It's just like, what? But it kind of feels like in Germany, the Enigma code. Like, you broke our code? Since when? Is that why you won the war? Like, if you know what I mean? It's like, oh. But it's just another thing they're better than Cardassians at. Oh yeah, we also can scan all your ships at a long range. We can do everything you got. We can destroy your ships easily and everything. Our uniforms fit better. Everything.
Yeah. We see another ship in the sector. Find out it's a Cardassian warship, and the Gull, whatever his name is like, yeah. You could probably transmit the codes to our ship. They get there a lot quicker. And Picard kind of hesitates for a minute, but he realizes, because the Cardassian says, so you're just going to stand there and let our ship be destroyed. And Picard is kind of, his hands forced, and he tells Worf to send the prefix code for the Phoenix to the Cardassians. And I kind of love the scene, just the tension, the waiting. Like, he's waiting he doesn't want to have to give that order. Because, yeah, he's sentencing everybody on that ship to death, essentially.
Yep.
But if he doesn't, then everyone on the Cardassian ship is to die. So, anyway. So then the warship moves in, got all the information. You see the overlap of the weapons.
Well, I guess if you're going to go, I'll jump back for 1 second, just then you can do this bit.
Yes.
Yeah, and the way this is played is that the Enterprise, at a long range, this is not close range, long range sensors, can detect 3 Cardassian ships and the good guy ship. But we need to tell the Cardassian ships where our ship is, because they haven't detected it. They kind of say that as well. The way they say it's in the code is also give them coordinates. It's like a package deal, So it's like, if you're that close, how can you not detect them? We're not going to attack them. There's a weird again, disconnect of, okay, how... Because, again, they say, we can detect all you guys. What, so they can kind of hide themselves from the enemy scanners? But It's very strange.
Yeah.
Then to go straight from, you know, their location to their prefix code is a bit of a leap. You know, I mean, because if they can lower their shields, it should be the end of the day. And Picard's face, I mean, it is like that hard, chiseled, stony, like, this is the worst. But the way Marco Amos was like, mate, you gonna do it? But it's a polite. They're all so polite. You know, these guys are not the war makers. This isn't Gul Dukat. He would be like, kill them! You know, he would be much meaner about this.
Fire everything.
Yeah. Right, and then there you go. There you go.
Well, okay. So the warship gets with. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Okay. The warship gets within 300,000 kilometers of the Phoenix and opens fire on the Phoenix. The Phoenix takes a direct hit. Now, in Starfleet battles, not that you care, but 300,000 kilometers is 30 hexes. That's far. That is good luck hitting anything at that range. But anyway, so the Phoenix takes a direct hit. The Phoenix then positions itself outside the weapons range of we would assume a Galore, let's say. The Phoenix powers up phasers and photon torpedoes and fires and destroys a Cardassian ship that hasn't been hit yet with what? I don't know how many phasers, how many photons hit it, but at maximum...
They explicitly say just torpedoes. They just fire torpedoes. That's it.
Okay. But at maximum range out of this firing arc, again, is the ship made of paper or glass? Because the shields would be up. That's a pretty long range for a photon torpedo, first of all. Mm-hmm. And second of all, their shields would be up, and you would assume at full power. So let's say you get a spread of photons, maybe 8 photon torpedoes.
Which is a lot.
It's quite a lot, but we've seen ships get hit before. So it's again showing the weakness of the Cardassians when compared to the Federation, and considering they all just got out of a war together, why did it take so long for the Federation to end the war if there's this technologically superior?
It's played as effortless.
Yes.
Which is bizarre. But that said, I mean, go back to the DS9 battle with the Klingons. 1 torpedo destroys a bird of prey. 1 torpedo destroys 3 destroys a Katinga. I mean, unfortunately, there are those caveat moments that do not justify this moment. They're equally dumb then. Like, what 2 wrongs does not make a right here. But I think you can take a few more subtleties away from this. Is that the Cardassians, I like your idea about they fired way too soon. So their phaser power wasn't what it should be. They were too keen. They thought, shields down, we'll do it. But they didn't get a direct hit. They got hit, but it wasn't a powerful hit, which meant the Phoenix could do something else. If they got close, they would have done it easily, like the Enterprise D did to the Galore themselves. They took it out instantly, basically. But the Phoenix clearly has a further, because we prioritize on technology rather than whatever, we've just got a further range. In fact, we can stay outside of range. You don't ever have that in Star Trek. Like, really? Like, if that was as easy as that could be, why couldn't they say, get us out of their range and stay out of their range? You normally, once you're in an engagement, you tend to kind of stay in that engagement.
It happens once or twice. You hear that kind of order, but it definitely applies to the games.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, yeah, it's definitely Starfleet Command, like looking with the circles, but it definitely gives a sense that we are more advanced in every way because we detect them coming, we have better hulls, and our range of weapons is far better. But then again, if you're using phaser-verse torpedoes don't have a range limitation so much as they'll be staring at them for longer, and they could try firing. But obviously, if this is not a world where we have countermeasures, then I mean, if he's got nothing to lose, he's saying fire constant barrage torpedoes. Think a la Borg, doof, 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 doof. I mean, all direct hit to weapons or shields or whatever.
The problem is the longer range for a photon torpedo. Photon torpedoes can be shot down with phasers. So the farther the range is, the less chance of them hitting. First of all, less chance of getting a lock on. I'm talking about Starfleet battles rules here.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. In Starfleet battles, they are direct fire weapons, so you can't actually shoot them down like a plasma torpedo. You can shoot a plasma torpedo, but Anyway, whatever.
I mean, we know it's the AWAC pod ship, so I'd be fine to say all of their weapons and sensors are all of the highest end, so they are a good long range barrage. Now, if this was a classic weapons pod nebula, I could see it being a tactical weapon ship, but this is not a powerful ship. It's armed with a similar but smaller array of torpedoes than the D. It's an AWAC. It's a sensor version, but it, again, and why would this one warship, like, it's so confident? It's like, we can defeat the ship. Oh, we're dead. It's equally stupid on the Cardassians as it is on the everything else. So yeah, it's just one of those classic bad fights.
That's a convenient fight for
slaughters.
The story. Fleet Pass Swiftback $2. Guess the mutiny on the Foley failed. To the brig. Yes. And Squadra Course puts in $2. Do we know what the concentric rings represent? Yes, probably different weapons. The longest range would be like the phaser 1s. Inner ring would be the phaser 2s, and then the smallest ring would be the phaser 3s. The different weapon strengths generally.
Yeah, I would just have said like effective range, as in I don't think we have those sort of multiple phaser variants in.
No. I'm just trying to draw.
But I would just say the I'm gonna find the picture. So yeah, the inner ring is good level, outer is meh, longest is because remember you can avoid phasers, like you can miss. They are missable, so I'm sure just gets those sorts of ranges, which is interesting then because if you look at concentric circles, the Cardassian have 3 in close proximity, whereas the Nebula has a much closer circle, like a much more balanced range set.
That's the answer. SWTX Chaser, $5. In Generations, the right shield drew let the torpedo through the shields. Maybe reading the transponder means the shield frequency too. But that only gives the Cardassians an advantage because the codes were sent to the Cardassians for the Phoenix, which is the prefix code, which in Star Trek 2 we see brings the shields down.
Yeah, and couldn't you also control it and take the weapons offline as well, theoretically?
Yes, you can.
But they didn't. But
they didn't.
Also note here, I didn't say this before, when they actually shoot, the Cardi shoot, it does say impact site 1, starboard deflector forward, and starboard deflector aft, and then shield effectiveness 82 still, and this is 32, hard to say, and weapon penetration 37. So, give us some numbers, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, it's a cool tactical analysis for sure.
Forward phaser banks, yes, they do fire phase as well. Huh.
Anyway, so the warship gets destroyed, and then it moves on to the supply ship, which doesn't have enough weapons, obviously, to defeat a Nebula class. Gets destroyed, and we find out that there was 50 people aboard the supply ship and 600 aboard the warship, which we assume is a galore at this point.
Everything is, Stuart.
Yes.
They're a Picard era fleet. It's all one ship. And guys, just so we got to mention it, we're 117 likes, 134 people watching. We'd love to hit the same as people watching. And we're again a bit light on super chats today. If we can get another 50, we've still got another half hour. 50 would be great. So a couple of 5s now.
Yeah.
Throw them in. That's still conservative. I mean, really, it'd be 71 would be great. Just saying.
And here's another point where I have an issue. Mr. Data, estimated time to intercept with the Phoenix. At our present speed of warp 4. What the fuck are you doing at warp 4 when you were at warp 6 earlier? So once you detect them, you slow down?
And that would be only like an hour away. Like that is an hour ago. That was recently.
So at warp 4, 16 hours and 44 minutes. Here's where we get the increase to warp 9, which will take it to what, 12 minutes? Or something like that.
Less than an hour, guaranteed. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It's just ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Because 14 hours is like, well, so I'll go off shift, head to the bar, have some drinks, sleep, get back, have a shower. Now we're there. Or we get there in 35 minutes.
Yeah. Well, there's still more warp issues to come later, guys. It's fine.
It's like, it's so deliberate. I know this is a universe where we don't need, and we can be chill. But do you not think he's going to kill more people in 14 hours if he has a chance when he can get there? And I mean, we're also in communication range. We absolutely are, because 14 at that speed is not that far away. God damn.
And Tenchi 2K7, $5.
Thank you.
In Star Trek Online, the range to lock on weapons is 10 kilometers. Seems good in the game. Yeah, but in Starfleet battles, each hex is 1 or 10,000 kilometers. And,
Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah, once you get about 5, 6 hexes away from a ship, good luck hitting it with any kind of lock on. Because you just, anyway.
Yeah.
Games, what are you going to do?
Yeah. No, it's definitely a strange one. Yeah. And the writers know this, It's weird.
Well, they must, yeah. But then we have the conversation between Picard and O'Brien, talking about, what could have gone wrong with the man. And O'Brien's like, well, I'm lucky to have served with the 2 best captains in Starfleet. Might as well butter the bread while he's down there.
It does feel genuine, but it's very much a don't fire me for my ex-captain.
But he basically says the Cardassians would have been up to something for him to do this. You just trust me on that. So then he asks, how did he react when his family got killed? Took it well. He was broken up inside probably, but who wouldn't be? Never missed a duty shift. Always had a smile and a joke, which seems odd in itself. But then we get the whole he would never retaliate and vengeance. There must have been something going on. So
I mean, you would also think that Picard, while clearly doesn't know the man personally, with that level of career, I appreciate they don't ever say he's gone crazy, but he thinks it's one-sided. It would be nice if Picard did have a bit more of a, well, what Commander Data start scanning through, because we've clearly hacked into all their codes, Cardassian chatter for the last 6 months. We pretty much had that with the Romulans as well in previous episodes. Like, can we find a reason? Because surely Maxwell followed a course, and when there's reasons here. I know the episode's quite packed already, but it would have been nice to have like the other side a little bit as well, where you actually have to make the choice of no war versus a little bit of war.
Yeah. And Squadron Core says hitting a 372 meter long galore at 300 million. Well, it was 300,000, not 300 million. There's a big difference there. You got
a few million
zeros.
Yeah.
That means the nebula had a firing accuracy of at least 0.43.
But since it was torpedoes, it just fires in the direction and they home. So that's sort of irrelevant.
Yeah.
Pew, 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 pew. But it's a good scene, and Picard is so uncomfortable with this episode.
Yeah.
Like, he's going against theoretically one of his own. Now, it would have been even harsher if he was like, I went with him at the academy.
But that's such an old cliche.
Yes, it is. Like, he doesn't know him very well.
Yeah. Because you wouldn't know every captain.
No. I mean, there's thousands of them potentially of different, because I'm sure the freighter captains, would want to go up to the captains' meetings, the yearly captain ball. But yeah, it's a good sense of, he's not, wait and see, And I like O'Brien's line of, because as he killed 600 people, he's like, what can I say to that?
I can't speak to that.
Yeah, it's like, well, I mean, come on, you've shot so many ships yourself. I mean, when you killed the guys at Balapraxia, if the Ferengi turned around and said they killed it, well, yeah, there's a reason. Well, was there a reason, Picard? Shit happens. This is space. It sucks, but there's probably something there. There is something there. He's not Mr. Paranoid.
Mm.
And then we have a less well done blue screen shot where they didn't get the colors right. But that's okay. I don't know if you noticed this. I said it while you were away. This episode, the director did a lot of long takes, long static takes, and it really builds something. It's mostly with Carl Meany, but when you can kind of get deeper and deeper into a scene, you have to emote constantly, and it gets really like, ooh, It's one of those next one of those scenes.
Well, this is a good scene because the Cardassian comes up, doesn't really. It kind of gives O'Brien a look, but doesn't try to sit like right beside him.
Yeah.
And I love that it's O'Brien that actually looks over and says, "Mind if I join you?" instead of the other way around.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because of his talk with Keiko, he's like, "I'm going to force myself to kind of, talk to this guy."
Well, I think he's thinking, I'm I'm not going to judge this guy on my past experience. This is a different guy. This is a guy. You know, I'm not negative towards the species, just towards what they've done. So this guy is not what they've done. Let me talk to this guy.
Yeah, and he offers him an apology for what he said to him in the turbo lift, and you know, I think
the guy's
that's
nice and humble.
really...
He takes it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. But he even admits, you know, I'll be happy when I get back on my own ship.
Yeah. I like that because Brian's like, oh, I hadn't thought about that. Because, do you really think he's not getting looks from everybody? You know, again, go to the Nazis, but do you really think a Nazi walking through British Parliament wouldn't get looks and would feel uncomfortable as well? Like, we never get that side of it here, but he's probably not feeling great being here. You know, and I mean, how many of his colleagues got killed by Starfleet? Probably not in the same butchery sort of way they may do, but that's irrelevant. Death is death. So he's just like, I mean, no one's been friendly here, so thank you for saying hi.
Perspective and propaganda. There would be Federation massacres on Cardassians.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like it's
And if we include later canon, the Cardassians are awful for propaganda. They really push that train. So the fact this guy's as balanced as he is, obviously future canon, but this guy's clearly a nice, genuinely nice guy. You know, although you can kind of tell that these three guys were picked because they were more neutral. They were able to keep their emotions more in check, because you don't want to send those. You know, you don't want to send Gul Dukat on this sort of mission. He's not going to do good. You want to send Gul the set, the cousin/brother. Whoops, went there again. But this scene almost is incredible. I think it misses a beat. But talk about what happens the rest of the scene.
Well, he talks about being with Captain Maxwell on Set List 3, and how everyone was dead except for one little outlying area, but he was, went there to supply reinforcements. And then the Cardassian says it was a terrible mistake. We thought it was a launching place for a massive attack against us. Which is great, because you get both sides of the conflict kind of justifying why they did it and how it looks from their eyes, which I think is great. But then, he basically stuns a Cardassian because he's protecting some women and children, and two Cardassians come in. He stuns one, gets in a scuffle with the other one, and then one of the women throws him a phaser, and he fires it at the Cardassian, but it was set on maximum, and the guy just disintegrated in front of him, essentially. And before that, he had never hurt anything. He says even he didn't want to hit a mosquito because he didn't want to kill it. So the bottom line is, I don't hate you, Cardassian. I hate what I've become because of you. So, but is it because of or is it because of that Federation woman that threw him the phaser? Bitch. Why is that set on disintegrate? I don't know. Anyway, that's a good scene, and very, very like a true wartime story. Very impactful.
It's one of those things, again, Carl Meany, he sells it. You believe him. Whereas he's just he's an actor in LA that's being filmed for a television show in a wooden set with people that are trying to talk behind him to a guy that looks a bit ridiculous in front of him, And he sells it completely.
Might have been a story his grandfather told him about World War II. Oh. Had the first time he had to kill somebody or something,
Possibly.
It's one of those stories that every soldier has. So. But
it's so undersold. Like, he doesn't say it with venom or meanness. It's so like, this is shit that happened. It was really shit. Like, he's so professional. This is why this Starfleet is so much better than Discovery or Picard. In Discovery, you'd have anyone, I don't even know the bridge crew's names, them yelling at somebody with a knife or a gun pointed at them. It wouldn't be this textured, layered analysis. There'd be shoot him at gun, no finesse at all. I mean, the writing is absolutely beyond shite for that show in comparison to this. This is a beautifully written scene.
Yes.
Garbage Discovery, and Picard's pretty crap too. Although Martin says, one world's butcher is another world's hero. Admiral Jericho. Jarok, sorry. Mm-hmm. And I think this scene is a good story, and it's so unexpected. Although you got to, he says we were sent to reinforce. Again, more ground troop stuff. It's like, ground troop stuff? I never quite bought ground troop stuff in Star Trek in the same way, because are the ships not bombing in space? I mean, should not have Hidekis flying in the, what does that even mean? If you can beam people up and, it's ground assaults. But it's a harsh story, beyond harsh really, and just, disintegrate the guy. And as soon as he said that, full saying I was hoping they're going to say disintegrate, because like that's the extra level that Trek goes with the technology. Not kill.
Well, don't say he doesn't say disintegrate.
No.
He actually says
It's
what's
like,
it say? Incinerated.
yeah,
He just incinerated there before my eyes.
but it's still the idea of like it's so visceral. Like I'm watching a guy's eyes, he's hit, and then like that's but this scene would have been better if this guy said something. I know why you don't need him to say anything, but this is like you've gone to a girl to break up with her, said your piece, and walked away.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, but that second part of the conversation is really important. What will this guy say? You know, that's the case study of this situation. What is he going to say to this? He's going to say, I also killed a guy in the exact... You know, they could have bonded. This is not him bonding. This is almost as bad in a sense as the turbolift. I've come here to vent at you. Goodbye. Well, that's not being a friend. That's not being a good guy. That's not being open-minded. That's just you venting at him. You need that other half of the conversation. You need that... Or him to come in later. For example, if you'd seen them beam away. If O'Brien was there and you have... So say O'Brien's in the transport room, the three walk in. He says to Gold, Massette, I'll be with you in a moment, sir. Okay, whatever your name is. Beams away. And he talks to O'Brien in the last scene. They needed that, you know? Something tie that 3-scene arc over. So I think I was missing that beat, but that's just me.
I would agree.
Cool.
SWTX Chaser, $3. Chief O'Brien, the most important man in Starfleet.
Yeah.
Right? And Area 51, $5.
Thank you.
Out and about, but wanted to say hi and money.
Hey.
Love this episode.
Oh,
Thank you, Area 51. Much
where
appreciated.
Were you out and about? Because it's so late for me, and we're both in our offices. It's weird to think people are out doing real life stuff. What are you up to?
Then we get the
Paul B. Great comment. If this was like Discovery, O'Brien would still hate Cardassians visibly, and we'd see the horrific disintegration flashback. Yeah, and it'd be less impactful somehow.
Yeah.
Good comment.
Then we get the other guy that's caught messing with one of the computer terminals on deck 35.
Not 36.
Good.
Then.
It's one of the lower decks. The Enterprise actually has 42 decks, so that's fine. That's good.
52 then. What was the joke deck? So was it 36?
26.
Oh right, so we've got way more than the E then, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah. Attempting to access information on our computer systems.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lie. Their terminal interfaces are just so much more efficient than ours. I was just looking. And I don't know what's happening here necessarily.
Yes.
What business do you have going near the computers? And the look on the guy's face is like, you told me to. But it's like, but Gull Massette, I meant nothing. There was no harm done. And he's kind of sort of playing along almost. That's what it feels like. It's like, why am I getting chastised by you? Oh, you're putting on. Oh, but in front of the. Okay, yeah. Okay. Oh, so you don't know whether there's a duplicitous thing going on here, or if the Gull was actually like, "What the hell are you doing?" You know.
See, that's not how I read it, but I know why you read that, and that's a good thing about the scene.
That's not how I read it the first time. But going back and rewatching the scene, there's little subtle facial things that are going on. That it's like, what is actually going on here? So,
but that's the Michael Amos. He's just so reserved. It's like, wow, professional or what? I kind of read it. I am not convinced the guy was genuinely looking at bad information. He feels relatively what? Like the actor's not playing it as what? I'm not doing anything. You can't prove. Like he's playing it more sincere than you'd think the scene would allow. This scene is meant to be ambiguous, and it does a great job. How I read it is that he was at a terminal, maybe tempted to do that, but didn't. Is getting called out for doing a genuine thing, but he should have asked. But he was not meant to do it, but he wasn't trying to get the weapon information, but Worf read more into it. And then the Gull's kind of like, as in to me, like, dude, what the hell? You stupid idiot.
So far, the Federations are the one that look like the bad guys here. Don't make it bad for us.
Yeah, it's not like Krug. It's like, you just made my order, dead. But I just got it as you. If I tell you to you got caught doing something you should have been doing. But if I tell you to hack into the system, you better not get caught, and you are really shit at anything you did. Quarters, you're off this mission, mate. You suck. But it's a very good, ambiguous little unnecessary scene. But it gives us 3 unique perspectives: possibly the spy, possibly the good guy, possibly the war hero. 3 unique Cardassians. It's not a microcosm. And the fact that when they go into the ready room, and Picard's like, you know what, this is it, and Gull's like, oh, so you're not going to order his execution then? He's like, nope, this isn't the mirror universe. No, he just says, oh, is that it? You're not gonna like, oh, he gets away with it then. Cool. I mean, I'm surprised you're gonna make me punish him more. And you get to see how thin he looks in the costume. He looks so unopposing, like in his little plasticky armor.
I got something to say about this scene, but we have a PayPal and we also have a super chat. So I'll read the super chat first. Your captain is most impressive. Puts in $2. Scene WS2 show that O'Brien was wounded in his soul. Oh yes, absolutely. And Jarzia throws in $5 in PayPal. As Darrow choked down guilt over what the war his people started had done to this gentle soul, one pressing question burned in his mind. What's a mosquito? Jokes aside, this is an amazing scene to me and one of the most memorable in TNG, and it's played brilliantly by Colm. The emotion that O'Brien sells here gets me every time. I feel like it was that scene that made him a main character material. Yeah. I thought the what's a mosquito thing, though, I thought that when the scene was happening, what the hell's a mosquito? But you wouldn't tell the story unless it was something very innocuous, so... Ryan throws in $27.99, $28.
Thank you.
With an awesome. You are amazing sticker emoji. Thank you.
With a dancing pear.
Yes.
That pear is. I've never seen that pear before, and it's pretty amazing too.
We've seen it a few times. Not that dancing one. We've seen the pear doing other things.
Oh, it's cool.
But no, I gotta give the director credit for this shot in particular. The framing, the way the Cardassian and Picard are face to face with the Stargazer in the middle, aimed at the Cardassian.
That's interesting. Yeah.
It's so subtle, but he's just talking about the Stargazer and being in conflict with the Cardassians and running from them, and now the tables are kind of turned considering what just happened.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was the intention, but from what I see when I'm trying to put my mind in a director's kind of head, I'm like, that's impressive, that shot.
Yeah, you never get a sense this is the hardest thing in the world from him, not like the Ferengi stuff, but he's dealing with stuff too. It's like I don't think he ever fought in the war. The implication is he was never there fighting. He was always, he was 3 seasons on TNG not fighting the war, but he obviously knew about it, probably lost friends, etc. But yeah, the idea of you guys were bad to me one time, I had to run. Now I've got the upper hand in every single possible way right now. But he doesn't lord it over him, but there's still this power thing. But this Gull guy, he also doesn't feel under Picard's thumb. It's beautiful, unusual stuff, even though Picard has all of the cards here.
Yeah, and it's also got that Gull do Picard, like, passive, just, he'll be dealt with later. And Picard's like, well, I consider it done, but you discipline whichever way you feel. He's like, I don't know. If I was in your position, I wouldn't think the same way, Captain.
That's a good Ducat line.
The way, yeah, exactly. And the way he delivers it is like, what are you actually thinking? Like, he's such a great actor for that kind of role.
Well, he's saying, I've never really talked to Starfleet Captain. I would punish the guy, and you don't want me to punish him? But but the whole episode is the idea of, if this was reversed, these 3 would probably be dead by now. Or could be dead by now if they were the Federation on a Cardassian ship, or at least in prison or war started. The fact that we are better than this, and that's the Federation ideal. But speaking of, we get to the Phoenix really easily, happily, no Cardassian ships in the area, no problem. And our first is actually Miranda class. Nebula. And unlike later in TNG, this is actually not as much of a kit bash as the Voyager CGI model was. Because that model was made literally as a kit bash over the ILM Enterprise D model using Generations, or Major Generations. This is a kit bash, but with new pieces. I actually met the guy that did this in Ticonderoga, didn't realize it, he didn't make a fuss. He was like, oh yeah, I designed that. It's like, what? You? Cool. So if you look, the deflector is actually a completely original front piece and a different
Hmm.
way of construction of the lower bit. It's unique. The engine's the same, the source is the same, but the secondary hull is different, and obviously the AWAC pod is obviously unique. So it's a same but different, and I appreciate the attention to some detail. It wasn't just literally a kit bash. And it's definitely an appropriate part of the era. As in terms of like, this is just a Miranda, it is, but it feels good and different. So good them.
Mhm. And then Maxwell comes aboard and basically shakes Commander Riker's hand and says, "Thanks for what you did with the Borg. We owe you one on that." And then realizes that O'Brien's there. He's like, "I didn't know you were aboard the Enterprise," and it's a great scene. It's a warm, nice guy, you know. And then he was my tactical officer on the Rutledge, best I ever had, and you know the ability to instantly size up a situation.
It's a great introduction of the character, and honestly, it feels to me like, and if you remember this, it feels like Monroe for my fan film, how he starts in one place, ends in another as he escalates. But can you imagine though? He's being so friendly, but he's in enemy territory. He's starting a war. He's just destroyed a ship an hour ago. He's just like, "Hey guys, good to see you all." Like you know what I mean?
Glad you're here for reinforcements. Thanks, man.
Yeah, but also they are so cordial to him. It's like you're starting a war here. But I mean, it's a weird level. But then again, they are respecting him as a full captain. He's you know what I mean? It's a very odd situation how they're playing it.
Well, Commander, best I see your captain straight away. We've got a lot to talk about, and just Riker. Yes, sir. Like just dripping with disdain almost from Riker. And even when the captain leaves and Riker follows him out, he gives O'Brien a look like kind of like a severe look. It's like, why are you looking at O'Brien that way? O'Brien's just, standing there being Irish.
With his fuzzy hair. I mean, part of it though, I think, is that Riker seems okay with him when he beams in, but yeah, you're right. As the scene progresses, it gets different because Maxwell is so chill.
I think Riker wanted to be able to hate the guy, and he's so friendly and nice. It's like, ugh, like have your mind made up before you meet somebody.
Yeah,
and it's like, oh, seriously.
Or he wants the guy to come in, look insane, feel insane, be like,
yes.
Oh, this guy's. We've met enough insane admirals and captains, but this guy, oh shit, he's. Well, maybe something is here. Oh, it got worse because he's not crazy. But what is crazy, and this stood out to me again because of our talk about Rank and O'Brien and stuff. He says, best tactical officer I ever knew. So O'Brien's been a tactical officer, a pilot, this is his official career path. Best tactical officer, which means bridge officer, bridge tactical officer, bridge pilot for the flagship, down to transporter chief to lieutenant, then chief engineer of space station. Weapons, helm, engineer, utilities, and then full engineer. This guy did not know what he wanted to do with his career. Jesus.
A important man in Starfleet.
Yeah, that's that. I mean, only thing he didn't do is medical. But also, Stuart, if he's the best damn tactical officer he ever had, why did you never promote him? Why did he leave your ship at Ensign?
Because he never went to the academy.
But he
even though in this one he's a lieutenant.
First one he was Ensign. Like, but why did you never promote him then? If he's your best officer, like, I just found that so stupid. It's like, best one ever. It's like, promote him then. Why is he Ensign sometimes? I just found that stupid.
Well, see, the best one ever just doesn't, gets to coast through. It's the ones that are bad that get killed on away missions and stuff, just mysteriously.
Just made me laugh. It's like, best ever should be rewarded.
So the captains get met or introduced to each other, and
he's so like sitting down, like,
yeah,
you can tell he's nervous. His heart's going, but he's trying to keep it all under wraps. So he has no idea what's going to happen here. There was no communication before this. There was no hail them, hey guys. It's like, what is this?
He says, I'm glad I heard it was you coming after me. You've been out here, you understand. And he goes on to say it wasn't a science station, it was a military supply post. And well, how do you know this? Information comes my way. From whom? Where's your documentation? I know what you're doing. I can smell it. There's no good reason for a science station in this system. And then he gets very aggressive with his hand gestures. I don't know if you noticed that, but it's a hell of a strategic site for a military transport operation. Jumping off point to 3 Federation sectors, and he's like very aggressive in his. It's very well acted, actually.
Yeah.
And they're running supply ships back and forth. And you can't tell me through scientific research. So, but then Picard's like, why didn't you notify Starfleet? What, and wait 6 months for them to make up their mind? No. That's not how things work out here. I need to deal with this.
I mean, if this role was reversed and Picard was sure, I mean, he would also not ask for approval in some respects.
Yes.
Some situations.
Yes. Anyway, yeah, he basically says, Picard, we need to act now to stop this. And Picard's like, well, you weren't under fire. There's, what?
Whose lives at stake, he says.
Yeah. He's like looking around going, oh, this smells musty in here. Like a bureaucrat's office.
That's a good line. That's a weird line.
Yeah. So you killed 700 people. You brought us to the brink of war. And what are you doing? So that basically gets accused. So on your own, you decided to dispose of the whole treaty that we have with them. And the guy's like, no, man, I took initiative. I did what had to be done. So anyway, yeah. Picard's like, why did you do it? I think it's probably because of your wife and kids. And there's another, you threw away your whole career essentially. So I think it's for the vengeance. The vengeance factor. Hey, that's an episode. And the guy gets very defensive and not true. It's not true. Just you're a fool, Picard.
He's pretty harsh considering he's not a fool.
Yeah, history is going to show that you're the fool, and I'll be vindicated.
Yeah, history will determine. Although history did obviously. And all I was thinking at this point was, when this guy's in prison, the Dominion War's happening, he's like, I told you guys so!
I don't think he'd be in prison. He'd probably be in Federation prison, which is like
penthouse.
Hanging out. Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like, the Dominion War's not that long away, actually. Yeah. And they were, I mean, I don't do cut that made it happen, but they wanted to help take over everything. And what are your closing thoughts about this scene before I jump in, like vibe-wise, tone-wise, how they both react?
Well, I'll just finish the scene real quick. He says you're going to go return to your bridge.
Oh yes.
And you're going to set a course for Starbase 211. You're going to follow us, or essentially come with us. And do you understand your orders? I'm going to permit you the dignity of retaining your command during the voyage. The alternative is being the brig, but and we'll tow your ship back in disgrace. The whole time I'm thinking, okay, what the hell is the rest of his crew doing on the goddamn ship? Nobody's questioning this at all. Anyway, and then the whole I'll return to my ship thing, and then Picard's like, fine, and turns his back, looks out the window, and clasps his hands like, that's it, you're done. Calls in Worf, says,
that happens at the end with the Cardassian too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. But my guest is departing. He calls Mr. Worf in, and then just turns his back on him. It was such a great scene. It went from cordial, hey, Captain, how's it going? To, you need to help me. Wait a minute, you're not going to help me. Oh, my God, whatever. And then the tables totally get turned on Maxwell. And he goes from being a strong character to kind of a pathetic figure at the end of this one conversation. I think it's a fantastically done scene and so well acted.
It's also on a whole lot of different levels. Like, there's a whole lot of going on here, and you can imagine these two guys, because you rarely get captains together. That's an odd thing to have, where, and also, I mean, would you say they're of a similar age?
I get the feeling that Maxwell's a little bit older than Picard,
which is weird because because the hair and no hair. But yeah, I also got this vague impression.
Yeah, not much older, but probably 10 years older or something.
Oh, that's quite a lot older. That means he's in his 70s, but you can't tell with the future tech.
Yeah, well, I just get the feeling he's been around quite a while.
But no, this scene is so yeah. My take on the scene, the way it starts as well, Picard sat down, power play of I'm not going to greet this guy, but then he forces a pleasantry, and it's nice and it's friendly. It's a lovely little moment, and it says sit down. The guy's like, okay, fine, sits again, power. There is a sense though of again the other level where I'm gonna devil's advocate for a second. Picard in this scene, and let me know if you agree. Picard in this scene has not got an open mind. He is resigned to one thing, and he is not going to listen to this guy. Whatever he says, the situation is going to end in one way, and that's what he's going in with. What do you think?
Oh, I absolutely agree. Yeah.
Okay. So normally Picard's a very good diplomatic guy who can think outside the box. This scene is kind of un-Picard in that way. He's definitely political Picard. He's definitely a mouthpiece of the Admirals. He's not thinking for himself, which feels odd for Picard. That said, this is where I'll agree with Picard in that when Maxwell says what's happening, he's very cogent, he gives things. Then guess what Picard says, what's your evidence? He says, basically, I have none.
Yeah.
All the guy had to do was say, here's a data chip with all of my evidence. And then Picard would say, oh, okay, I will read that. But he brings nothing. You shouldn't take this guy's word. If he has evidence, the scene is totally different. But he doesn't ever use evidence, and that's obviously he's not going to win this situation. But he should have evidence somewhere.
Yeah. Well, that falls into what happens next, because he even says here, "Let's go find one of their supply ships. I'll prove it to you." And then on their way back, they book it for a supply ship.
Yep.
They don't arm their weapons. They don't go in hot. Here's a supply ship, Captain. Check it out. And then it kind of goes to hell for.
But you would think this scene would play differently if he came with a pad of facts, because Picard just, well, you haven't got anything. Like you're a crazy man. You haven't got anything. But he obviously has evidence. He would not. You can tell he's not doing this under non-evidence. He's just not using it. But that's a problem with the writing of like, well, we can't take it too much further. He's expecting Picard to go with him because they're Starfleet.
Yeah.
But he needs to bring anything.
Yeah.
And so I'm not surprised. So it feels a bit weak in that respect as a scene, because there's a logical, like, why are they not doing that? And then, so when he doesn't have evidence, Picard starts by saying, but why? But who? But hen? Shut up, don't care. Now I'm in command, you know? It's a weird turnaround for that. It's still a great scene, but it's weirdly played if you think about the levels of the characters a little bit.
Yeah.
Because Picard is not interested, even though he would absolutely be interested, especially as he fought the Cardassians. You know, if they are arming, they should know. Peace is important, but if I'm like, I can bring you home. Like he can tell Maxwell, okay, I prove this evidence. We'll go back to Federation space now, and we'll do a tribunal. But the way they play it is, you're crazy. I'm taking you back in shackles. But what if he's right? They never play it as what if he's right, but Picard would absolutely say what if you're right. So it's weird that he's very close-minded. It's odd to me.
Yeah, I think he's made up his mind that he's definitely overstepped his authority, at least in this situation, and it's making captains and Federation look bad to the Cardassians.
But at the end of the day, the most important thing is the truth. So looking bad is a political Picard, not a Captain Picard. If these guys are going to attack us, then we need to know.
That end scene, we talk about that when we get there, because it's like Picard knows that. Anyway,
yeah, we'll get there.
James McGill, though, $2. Great story, cool intro of Nebula class starship. Absolutely to both.
Yeah.
And Jarzia, $5. I don't buy letting Maxwell return. He damn near started a war, and that's too big a gamble with what's at stake. Riker would have taken command. No, the first officer would have, and they say that later, that the first officer gets command of the Phoenix.
I kind of like that he gives him the opportunity to warp back.
I do too.
Because I think that's the line of irredeemable. If you can come back with me, you may keep your career. It'll be in shambles, but you'll keep it. If you fuck with us right now, you'll go back in chains. You know? Go back home, prove what you did. You may be wrong, but you know, it's interesting. But as you said, and I absolutely thought throughout the whole thing, what is his crew doing? What is his crew thinking? It takes a crew to run a ship. Nebula's quite a big ship. So his crew's obviously behind him 100%. And accepting his orders 100%. So they're all convinced. I know they trust him. But you never get the sense that his crew are fanatics that are running with a madman. you get the sense that Maxwell has evidence, has facts, they buy it, it's justifiable, because they are all, I mean, if this was the Enterprise and Picard said, we're going to go to the neutral zone and destroy some ships, Romulan ships, people would be like, wait, what? Because we've seen that a little bit where Picard's taken over by an invader. Like, they've had the situations. Obviously, this is a realistic thing that's happened, and they buy it. But we never get that, you know, we go to his second in command as tactical officer. Like, these guys are also doing the war, starting the war. You needed a little bit. Again, they haven't got time or money, fine. But this episode, honestly, could have been a two-parter. As weird as that, you know, I don't say it as much as I could do, but this one could probably be a two-parter and give us other perspective, you know? Something else would be kind of cool. Where's the thing?
Speaking of, they're on their way back.
And they pivot.
Yeah. What's he doing? No response.
Yeah, like
he's headed directly for a Cardassian vessel, which is 0.12 light years from our location.
That's really close, Stuart. That's just like,
yep.
You know, as if it was all intentional, as if Maxwell picked this course on purpose.
Well, the Cardassians, or Picard says, what kind of ship is it, you think? I imagine it's a resupply ship headed for the research station on Kalrabi in the Kalrabi system.
But he is absolutely, like, shifty. And there are moments where he looks at the other guys like, like, you can tell he's giving, because before he was like invested, he was just like, this is the least information I'm going to give you.
Once they get to the freighter, then it's even better. But so this is the whole warp 8, overtake them. Well, now they've accelerated to warp 9. We'll not be able to reach them before they intercept the Cardassian vessel. Ensign, warp 9.
0.1, maybe. No? Okay.
Yeah. Why not? Engineering room, Geordi, can I get a little more power out of the engines?
Yeah, of course.
We're going to push them to their maximum.
Oh, yeah. Very nice. Yeah.
Andrew Sepp, $2. I think
Thanks.
the first officer should go down with him. It depends on the situation, actually.
But in the context, like, he's clearly complicit.
Yep.
So, maybe. And that would have been another thing to see at the end, see the second officer take command and be like, nice to meet you, Captain Picard, I wish it was on better circumstances. You know, I've seen the evidence, but, well, too much. What we're saying. Oh, yeah, the warp thing, yeah. But also, the way they kind of play it as if a head start is a head start. You know, if you wait one more second at warp, you're going to be able to overtake them. You know, you could absolutely reach the freighter first. Guess what? The computer can calculate things very quickly. You could absolutely get there first if you wanted to. Or is Picard letting him get there? You don't get that sense, but is he?
They're at the distance where they could fire. Take out his weapon. Take out his engines.
Well, no, they accelerate from 6 to 8, and so that few seconds of head start, they've zoomed past. I can imagine they're out of range instantly, and then once they've got that distance, because if they are now where's warp 9, yeah, once they've got that distance, he's not. Because that gap is too far, but they're not closing that gap. But Gul not Dukat is really not being very strong here. He's not like fire. You know, he's being very passive in this whole scene. I guess he feels guilty about. He knows this situation is deadly because if the freighter is found out, the guy I've just won the situation. I've got them to go back home. If this gets uncovered, we're all doomed. So I guess that's why he's being very subdued because he can't say anything too much.
Yeah. Well, I love when they get to the ship though, because it's like, have they activated their weapon system? Negative, sir. Their phaser banks are not armed, and the Cardassians they can't get a read on because the sensors are unable to determine the status because they're running high-powered subspace field, and that's where you get the whole shifty-eyed like Goldie Cott like thing. Don't ask me about that. I don't know about that. You know.
I plead the fifth because an Iron Amendment we can do that. I also think one more slight thing about Warp. I also think that Picard, in the back of his mind, he's thinking, I've now got plausible deniability. If I was forced to go to the ship, I can say that. So I'll let him get there first because I'm in this situation. I might as well see where it goes at least for a second.
Just hope he doesn't fire on it and kill more people.
But he doesn't.
I know he doesn't.
I remember
but
that
he
he
doesn't
did though. I remember that he did though in my head. I don't know why I did. I remember him shooting and I was like, oh my god.
I like it better that he didn't actually.
Oh god, yeah. Well, again, he's not crazy, you know. But what a coincidence that they happen to have a weapons freighter on the exact course back to our space. It's like, what are the chances? But yes, it's a quite tense scene. But instantly, as soon as they say about the field, you're like, he's right. But he's not shooting.
Picard doesn't confront him. Picard doesn't confront the Cardassian. He just goes and talks to O'Brien.
Mm.
And, what do you think he's capable of doing in this situation? And that's when O'Brien's like, well, if he thinks his back's against the wall, he's going to strike.
Well, I'm wondering, what is he doing now? He's sat there.
Well, he messages them. He hails them and says, "You need proof.
Yes.
You've got it now." He says, "Board the ship." And Picard's like, "You disobeyed a direct order." But then he continues on and says, "You'll see that everything I've said is true." Picard's like, "That Cardassian vessel will not be boarded.
Yes.
We're in their space. We're respecting their rules, essentially."
Yeah. Doesn't matter what the situation is, who's right, wrong. We're past this. But I'm wondering, like, how long is he going to wait? Because you would think the Cardassian ship is thinking, oh shit, arm weapons, don't arm weapons, like, you know what I mean? This I was waiting for it to escalate.
Two Federation ships come in.
God, yeah.
Like a nebula and a galaxy, and we're just a little supply ship. Oh fuck!
And
we've heard the stories of what's been going on.
And he does it does Order Red Alert. Both by the end of the scene, both have weapons fully armed. And this little phrase like, I was just applying illegal weapons. Oh shit! Because those are new ships. Those are. Whoo!
Should we self-destruct so we don't get discovered?
No,
what
seriously.
the hell do we do?
I mean, that almost would have been a better end to the scene. It's like,
sorry,
Gold not Ducat. Why do they self-destruct? Oh yeah, those Freys have enormous power core issues.
They have leaky warp cores,
Yeah, that actually would have been really interesting. Actually.
Yeah. Anyway, O'Brien, decides to sneak in 0.5 or 0.50th of a second that there's a lapse in the, which is great. He's like, I can beam it, no problem. It's fine.
I mean, what do you think about that? Because it does feel a bit easy.
It's super easy, but he's a transporter chief. That's his job.
Yeah,
he knows these things.
I mean, theoretically, while we know his previous ship wasn't this ship, it could have been a Nebula potentially. Although, I mean, you could easily argue the Nebula and the Galaxy have almost identical transporter systems. That's not a stretch. These ones best on the ship.
Although that being said, when he beamed over, he was like looking around the transporter room, like, "Ooh."
Yeah, I thought it was weird.
Yeah.
This is what the newest one looks like. It's only 1% different to mine. Yeah.
Did I even beam? This looks exactly like our. What the? Oh, Riker's here. Okay, yeah, I did.
And O'Brien's here. Did I even go anywhere? Yeah. Have I gone to the past? Yeah. But although I think the caveat though to the whole this is to beam, because at least I appreciate they say, well, they've got shields on. That's consistent. But I like the idea that O'Brien specifically knows the Nebula class has this weird flaw. Like, it's not every ship, it's the Nebula variant. I could kind of buy that. It's like, yes, it's a very inbuilt special thing. Kind of like how Worf knows how this one version of Bird of Prey is able to be, trigger its warp field to cause us, it's like, that's a very specific thing to know, Worf. We just knew it, Fun fact. Although, boy, I would be fine if this Nebula class had the same bridge as the Galaxy. I don't like that all we see is this shitty little room behind him that's clear as a redress of other sets. It's fine as a ready room, apart from the generic white walls, but it should have been the Galaxy class bridge, differently lit, with another crew. Should have been that bridge. How
did O'Brien get into this room? Because the guy, he hears the chime, he says, "Not now," and Brian just gets in. You assume the room was locked. You assume he probably had to walk. Where did he beam? Maybe he beamed right outside the room. I don't know. How did he know he was there? There's a lot of questions, because if this is the ready room and it's attached to the bridge, you got to go through the bridge, and none of the senior staff on the other ship are like, "Who are you?" No,
I think he beamed in the transport room. The guy was confused. He said, "Hi, I'm here to talk to Captain Maxwell." He says, "Oh, okay." And because...
How are you here with the shields up?
Well, he says, "I used my trick." I think this isn't... Because Maxwell isn't the crazy man yet. And the crew is a good Starfleet crew. So I think, honestly, they just let him up there. They scanned no weapons. It was just like, I mean, this is Starfleet, and it could serve with Maxwell for years. I wouldn't even be surprised if he, Maxwell came back and said to his XO, my old friend O'Brien was there. Really? Yeah, he's doing well. And I honestly don't think the door was locked because he trusts his crew. Like, that's the thing. He hasn't gone into weird panic mode. He's calm, like...
think of the situation though for the rest of the crew. They're in Cardassian space. They just killed some Cardassian ships.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're at another ship with weapons unarmed, shields down.
No, the weapons. No, wait, what?
Or the shields are up. Shields are up. Weapons aren't armed.
No, they
though.
are. They say it, and then the Enterprise matches. They're weapons armed. At the end of the scene, they arm them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I missed that.
That's fine.
But all of a sudden the Enterprise comes in and is just sitting there.
Hasn't opened fire yet, though.
Did they know about the communique that he sent to them?
Well, it's from his radio
saying
room, so
search
maybe
the ship. I don't know. It's just it's a weird set of circumstances that the other crew must be going, what the hell is going on right now? Like, seriously.
But I can definitely imagine that Maxwell just tells crew. I think he's to be so honest with them that then they trust him. It's like the Enterprise D crew. I mean, do you remember that one time that they were like 10 seconds from self-destructing and they were all just calmly sitting? Because they're professionals. And they were closer to death than these guys are. So I think weirdly enough, and you think I'd be the one to be annoyed by this, the fact that he can do this shows how good the crew is. And how calm everyone is. You know?
Yeah. Not a band account, $2. Captain Maxwell was following Burnham's example.
It's the Vulcan hello. Everyone is the Vulcan hello. We fire first. Yeah. That's fine.
SWTX Chaser, $2. It's those Irish. Not even shields stopped them. That's right. We're here.
Yeah. But I do wish this was the Ready Room from I wish this was a redressed the Ready Room. Be far more impactful. Because they'd be like, this is the captain that we know, but not. And then why is there a different nebula on his desk? Like,
because reasons.
Okay. So yeah, what do you think of this scene then? What are you doing, my friend? I'm doing this. Let's sing. Okay, we're singing. We're gonna stay and watch them sing the entire song. Okay, cool.
I think it's fine. Reminiscing with an old friend, they asked about the one guy followed O'Brien around, Will Caden, Stompy as they called him, just reminiscing, and the fact that he was killed at the same massacre as his family. I don't know. I think it's fine. I think it's a fine scene. He asked about the song.
This is the end scene. I mean, you don't think
it's good? Yeah,
okay.
It's good. It's good. I mean, fine as in finely crafted. Good. I do like the ready room because it is a ready room because it's got a desk, and I don't know why the plaque's in the ready room, but it should be on the bridge. But whatever, unless it's a duplicate. But no, the scene is fine, and then he kind of realizes that I'm not going to win this, am I, Chief? No, sir. I think it's a great scene because it shows he knows he was doing right, but he went about it the wrong way, and he went too far, and I think he's starting to feel guilt now as to how it was approached, especially after talking to Picard. So I think it's good. I do like that O'Brien was there, and I like the little song they sang. It was nice.
And Andrew says the flagship has the weapons locked on them. No, they're just armed. They didn't go that far. That was the whole point about how will we fire on a Federation ship, and they don't actually go that far or even target them. Yeah, this is an interesting thing because it brings Maxwell back from being he's gone a little bit crazy to he's actually fine. He's thinking, so it brings you back to that respect level. But yeah, basically I think what happened is he was one of the later on they say he won the highest award twice. Presumably he's one of the 5 best war heroes of that war. I think would be a fair assumption. One of the top people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he knows the Cardassians, and the war was ended a year ago. That's not long. And he probably fought. Maybe he was one of the main border guys who fought with them for 10 years. What it could have been, Stargazer, a long time ago. So he was assuming that with evidence, with confirmed facts that he's got, but he hasn't shared for some reason, if he makes an action, Starfleet will back him up once they see. He's just surprised that Starfleet not only sends a flagship, which is good, to bring him back, which is bad, but the captain ordered not to help him. Oh dear. So he's like, I was expecting this to be the start of us calling the Cardassians out, and they respect conflict, you know. Also because we can win every fight with better ships. But they're not backing me up. I'm alone here. I can't win this. I'm alone. I was expecting for everyone else to remember the war, but everyone else remembers the war but doesn't want another one. They would rather have peace than truth. He is in the truth, and you know what I mean? Is that too far?
I know what you mean.
So I think at the end he's like, okay, I did what I thought was right. You could argue was right.
Yep.
At least it was. I was doing what was right in wartime. It's just not wartime, and
yeah. SWTX Chaser $5. This is the best treatment of PTSD I have seen until it's only a paper moon in DS9. Absolutely.
Yeah, because they're still professionals, and that's important.
Yes. Fleet Pass Swiftback $2 going to pay for 150. 140 now. Challenge set. 127 people watching. If you haven't hit the like button. Let's see if we can get up 10 likes. That'd be awesome. We're almost done here. Got like one more scene to go. So, and then we'll give our final scores and stuff. You might want to start super chatting your final scores at this point too.
Yes, because Alyssa Jericho says he wasn't seeking vengeance. Yeah, I've been very clear in this scene. It wasn't, and they could have easily acted, but they killed my wife. Like, they never go that far. I mean, that's a director's choice to say no. It was not about that. He doesn't like them for that, but he's Starfleet first and foremost. Stuart, he's Starfleet.
Yeah.
Mariner.
Number one special $2. Maybe the plaque is actually an award. It's not. It's very much a dedication plaque if you look at it. Yeah. But that's okay. So anyway, he hands over his ship to his first officer and is aboard the Enterprise, and he's basically been confined to quarters until they get back. Yeah. Not in the brig, confined to quarters. Again, Picard showing some respect for the captain.
The fact is, at this point also, he knows it's like, he was probably right, wasn't he? Shit. So he's going to go, that line was crossed, but also the information line was crossed. He was able to give some massively circumstantial evidence, and not until he looks at not Ducat's eyes and sees, he's right. Like, he doesn't know until he bluffs. But he's like, And technically, he didn't fire on anybody. He didn't break any more rules. He just... his warp core, his helm lost course for a second. That's computer error. Wow, that's... I mean, to be fair, it's only like 0.3 light years off course. I mean, you could easily retcon that, as in, like, to the higher up saying, oh, yes, my thingy went weird for 0.1 light years. Oh, coincidence, I dropped out of warp next to a ship. Oh, so weird.
Anyway, so... O'Brien here says, he was a good man. I know what he did was wrong, but I'm still proud to have served with them.
Which is an interesting tone to end on for him.
Yes. Yes. And then the Cardassian's like, well, his loyalty's admirable if it's misplaced. Picard goes on to say, the loyalty you just easily dismissed doesn't come easily to us. And they find out that he actually was honored. Twice honored with the Federation's highest citation for courage and valor.
And this also links directly to what Worf said right at the start of trust isn't given, it's earned. And Picard saying, oh no, that captain earned all of our trust. So despite what we did now, he's still bloody incredible. We just chose you over him. And that's interesting, because Picard is definitely icier here. You can tell us the scene, because it's really interesting. My aircon on because it's warm.
That's okay. The Cardassian's like, well, I'm just happy he's under lock and key. And then Picard turns to him and says, you know what? Maxwell was right. Those ships were not carrying scientific equipment, were they? A research station with an arm's reach of 3 Federation sectors, cargo ships running with high-energy subspace fields, and jam sensors. If you believe the transport ship was carrying weapons, Captain, why didn't you board it? I was here to protect the peace. And he says, a peace that I firmly believe in is in the interest of both our peoples. If I had boarded that ship, we wouldn't be having this nice, friendly conversation right now. And both sides would have ships arming for war. Yeah. He says, I assure you, we're going to be watching you guys. and then he turns his back on him. And again, I mean, with the captain, it was one thing. He was standing, whatever. This is just in a chair, just dismissively towards the. I think it was really well done. Yeah. Yeah. He's got a little.
Symbolically.
He had a little finger
Scratch.
tattooed on the back of his head for that moment.
So itchy. Yeah, really itchy.
I just drew it on with a magic marker beforehand. And it's like, I'm going to use this. And...
Or only Cardassians can see with their eyes. Yeah, and this is also quite similar to the scene where Brian and the dude in 10 Forward. In this version of Cardassians, they don't talk that much. They're very considered with their words. Later on, they're not. I mean, they just chat shit. And so the fact he's not saying anything to respond is like, what can he say? Nothing. Everything he say he'll incriminate potentially. He's just gonna let Picard say his piece, and then okay, which is interesting. It's very un-Ducat-like, but Picard's also just parroting what the other guy said because he hasn't got any more evidence, and so he's just looking for the eyes. You know, it's like going to your wife and saying, "I know you cheated last week," and you see that flicker. It's like, "Oh, you did," or not. It's a little bit of a play. But yeah, it's like at the end of the day, I was here for the political, not for the. But you do you, but seriously, do you, but don't come after us because we are serious. Don't cross the line that Maxwell did. He went into the attack territory. We have ships. You have ships. We all have weapons. Fine. Don't be Maxwell. We're punishing him. Just I believe in this. You should believe in this.
SWTX Chaser says this scene needs a sarcastic Vulcan salute. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Mark puts into ours so many missed opportunities in DS9 from this. I thoroughly agree with you.
I can see that.
Would have been good to bring Maxwell back as a consultant or something.
Admiral
Not
Maxwell.
As a captain. He would have been. Well, no, he would have been stripped of his rank. He would have.
But you can imagine Dominion War. He gets upranked to be a liaison because he understands the Cardassians.
Yes. Liaison, yes, but not with an official rank, I don't think. Fleetpaw Swiftback. Oh, that's scores. Never mind. We'll get into those in a minute. This is. I'm just gonna go. Just a great episode. I love it. It's fun. It's very Star Trek like, and you get ships. You don't get much of the crew though, unfortunately. What?
This is Jericho. Shame we never saw the Cardassians again. This Cardassian. I thought you were saying shame we never saw them again. This Cardassian, yeah. Well, we saw his brother, Gul Dukat. And guys, put your super chat scores in now. We're about $25, $28 away from would be a nice place. We're already getting a couple now, but 25, 30, that'd be great. And any score, and if you guys like this one, comment, like, subscribe, bell notification, and super chat 25. Stuart, what do you think of this episode? Final thoughts?
Super chat your scores. I'll read your super chat scores after, and he'll read your non-super chat scores after.
Just still special, but not captain special, because the captain has to be careful what he says, because he's that important.
Do I? Actually, I say some stupid shit all the time. But anyway, just that look like yeah, you do. Great episode, as I said. One I've always enjoyed watching. And it actually gets better the more you watch it. The more you see it, it just gets better, in my opinion, anyway. I don't want to say too much about it other than what we already said. I wish there was more of the other crew in it, though. Like it seems very sparse as far as the main actors go, but that works for this situation. And plus, the first introduction of the Cardassians, I think, is pretty great. And Gul Dukat. Not Gul Dukat. You know what I mean. Mark, whatever his name is. So this one for me for season 4 is going to get a 10 out of 10 for season 4. I think it is a fantastic piece of Star Trek. And season 4 has had some good ones, but this is definitely up there for sure. As for all of TNG, I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10. I think it's definitely the upper echelon, but is it perfect? No, there's a few little things that kind of throw it off for me a little bit. Little plot holes, especially with the warp numbers. Again, it's they're making it like a submarine suspense war story.
Everything to do with battles or warp, it does badly. I mean,
Not badly, just poorly compared to
well,
other Star Trek.
okay, wrong. Does them wrong.
Wrong. Okay, there you go. Yeah, exactly what he said.
And it doesn't even need to be. I mean, just change the 10 light years to 50.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so
And that's
10 and 9.5. Okay, I hadn't had the piece of paper up yet, or the documents. I'm just scramble to find that.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, 9 is...
So, I see you guys are doing good with the super chat, so thank you. Keep it up. We'll get to those in just a second after Samuel gives us his rundown.
So this is one of your under 5 10s then. So this is just like, even though it's not really a ship episode, even though it has a little bit, but just like you have with 10. Okay. I mean, do you want to read the super swords and I'll jump in with my stuff?
No, you jump in with your stuff, then I'll read the super chat scores.
No, this one's good. I think for me it feels I feel the bottle showness a bit more than I was expecting. It feels more like a lower budget piece where it relies on its characters, which does very well.
Like Balance of Terror.
Yes. But that one, because the baddie is on the ship playing a goodie, the tone is so strange. But that's why it's interesting, you know? This is almost like a successful Last Jedi. Because you think the guy could be a villain, he's not. You think the Cardassians could be... Like, it plays with everything we're going. And honestly, you are kept on your toes the entire time. I don't think it successfully creates the powerful punch of that middle bit with the battle. It builds up tension slowly until the end. But you should feel more tension in the middle. It's a very slow ramp, even though it should have peaks and troughs. It doesn't quite do that. Which is, but I like the nuances of everyone's performances. They all raise the material beyond where the writer wrote it. Technical stuff they get wrong for the most part, but Star Trek wrong, not battle wrong. But that's fine. Hard to justify. Mark Lamos, obviously, he was a good one-off. Maybe we'll see him again in future Trek. Who knows? Maybe worth bringing back. And definitely underplayed. Definitely not Ducat. This ain't no Ducat. And Picard's great. You only realize in retrospect that none of the crew are used this episode because it's so focused on a singular plot. There is no B plot. This is a full-on A-star plot. Like, there's one thing happening and everyone's wrapped inside of it, So it's very full. It's very dense. I just wish they could do a bit more. Like I said, you need the end to have the Enterprise debridged, redressed, recolored. You need to have more of the crew. You need to see more of a battle. You need a few more things to help stretch it out. You need 2 parts, double the budget, make it even deeper, have him be proved more right, but Picard made a political choice, which is unusual, and have him lament at the end, I wish I could have sided with you, Maxwell. I wish I could have. But I couldn't. I can't. And then have O'Brien shake hands with the Cardassian at the end and say, it's not you. You needed an extra 40 minutes of content, honestly. Trap it all together. But that's just the episode, it could only do what it could do. Score-wise, top tier, but not best top tier, because it's just missing that little bit of extra something. Just that little bit of extra something where those 10s are 10. So I'll say a solid 9 for each.
Okay.
It's missing that. It's missing that little bit of extra. But I mean, you can't say, "Oh no, I'm only giving it a 9 out of 10." There is no only 9 out of 10. It's not a 10. Yeah. I'm not. That's it's my. Because Future Imperfect was 9.5 for you and 9.2 for me. I mean, that has that spark of, ooh, that's so fun. Has that little bit of extra spark for me. This one just doesn't have that little bit of extra. But yeah, cool. All right,
let's get to the super chat scores. We got some fantastic ones, so thank you guys. Excellent. Fleet Paw Swiftback, $2, 8 out of 10 for season 4, 8 out of 10 for All Trek. Good episode. It's very memorable. Tenchi 2K7, $5. This is one of my 10 out of 10s for TNG, despite the slightly lackluster battles. Your captain is most impressive. Puts in $2. 10 for season 4, 10 for TNG, 10 for All of Trek. A masterpiece. We knew that going in that Jill loves this one. So
hey, I'm surprised no 11s. I'll be honest.
Yeah. Oh, now she's going to change it.
I'm sure she will.
Jarzia, $5. 9.5 out of 10 for season 4 and TNG. Top 10 TNG for me, possibly top 5.
Wow.
It's crazy how prophetic it was of the Dominion War years before it was conceived.
Although it's interesting because the Defector for me was a 10 because the guy is much more memorable, and you see his perspective way more. This one is so many different people that no one gets the time. That one, it's so focused and strong, and the writing's a little bit better.
Yeah.
Just for me,
Yeah.
Defector's definitely in the top 10 slot. This one does not fit in my top 10 slot.
Yeah. Squadra Course, $5. 9.5 out of 10 for me. Did they ever follow up the Cardassian secret ops? Maybe the supplies were there for the Ascidian Order fleet seen in DS9 Defiant.
It's just building ships, man. That's how they have so many Dominion War. Just building those ships as quick as they can.
Yeah. Jersey at $2, and we're pretty much exactly halfway through TNG now. Fleetpaw Swiftback, $20.
Ooh.
Wow, thank you, Fleetpaw. I imagine Maxwell finding skullduggery on the Cardi's part would have been allowed to retire instead of being imprisoned. He would have been reactivated during the Dominion War, knowing the Cardis as he did. I don't think so. I think for political ramifications, for him to be just retire, I think would cause a little bit of a backlash from the Cardassians, especially knowing the Cardassians like we do in Deep Space Nine. I think that wouldn't have gone over well.
I can imagine though that when they said that, I do agree, but then Picard might say, yes, but we have proof that they were smuggling weapons. Let's just let him retire. We'll play chicken here.
Then why didn't you act on it, Picard? That's the problem. Picard's going to have to say he suspected that he was right.
Well, the idea is
because he didn't want to start a conflict, he didn't actually beam over to investigate.
But that's the thing. If they make a stink out of Maxwell, they've got to explain. They've got to give his side of the story of why. I'm sure the Cardassians say, "Yeah, let him retire. Don't let him give in a public statement. Public."
Oh yeah, in that case, yeah. Oh yeah, we weren't doing anything. Yeah, let him retire. It's fine. It's fine.
Exactly. Yeah, don't let him.
We're mad about it. We were issuing a formal complaint, but we're not going to do anything.
Yeah, because retired is still out of the service. Like he still got fired over it, just a fired retired.
Yeah.
But I think honestly that he could have been a really strong, especially given this. DS9 was literally the Cardassian Bajoran story. Him coming in would have been a really good thing. And it's not that many years after.
Absolutely.
Like, 5 years, 4 years till. No, 3 years till DS9 starts. Actually, I mean he should have been exactly the same age, look, feel. Missed opportunity for sure. And he was a good actor. He sold it. He really sold it.
Yeah. That thing you can't find, $10. Thank you. 10 out of 10. One of my favorite episodes in all of Trek. Great backstory for O'Brien, and it highlights the struggle for combat veterans in peacetime.
Yes,
absolutely.
Very mature for that. More mature than Discovery, even like Enterprise. Like the writing here is so mature for that.
Yeah.
Well, it kind of makes me wonder: would this episode be better if I did better CGI for the battles and like extra? Okay, well, there you go. Answered.
Area 51, $5.
Thank you.
Picard turns in his chair. It doesn't stop, so he has to face the Cardassian again.
Yeah.
And Jersey at $2. Well, the Defector is my favorite TNG episode. So there you go.
There you go. Yeah, I think that one's definitely better than this one, but it also had other cool things to it. It had more levels, like it had more stuff. This one was more grounded in real life people. That was more grounded in Star Trek lore.
Yeah.
Because this is an invented war we have no feelings about. So we obviously can't connect to this. It was invented today. The Romulan shit we really connect to, especially Balance of Terror. So I think that one's just a deeper episode in Star Trek.
SWTX Chaser, $2. This should have been called back in Drumhead. Well, yeah, Drumhead, they bring up a lot of older stuff that happened in the series. So, yeah, I could see this contributing to her little bit of attack on Picard. You return to the Romulan side. This Vulcan, remember the Vulcan ambassador? That's brought up. So this would be like, and you knew about the Cardassians smuggling weapons to a supply depot, and you did nothing about it.
Well, because that's a good question. Will Picard make a stink about this? You really don't get a sense he does. But like, does he go home and say, "By the way, I'm going to side with him," or is he going to be
Well, it'll be in his formal report that he, suspects something's going on at least. And there was some validation to, his actions. But.
And guys, we are $26 away from a really good round number. You guys have blown us out of the water.
You said that $26 ago.
Yes, and we've plenty. I'm just saying.
We're $105 away from a fantastic number, guys. So if you can help us out, please do.
Yeah. I'm looking at the number. I'm just saying, like, I'm going to read out the non-super chat scores. If we can get the last 26, that's a really good round number. Not saying we have to. There's no requirement. You guys have got your fun. We've got our fun. You guys really kicked ass there. I'm going to read the non-super chat scores, Stuart. I'm doing my bit, okay? Doing my bit. Boy, it's warm in here. Lance, 9 out of 10. An 8 out of 10 full Trek. Devro 10. Good Old Gamer 8. Raj 9. Chuck 9. 9.9975. 9 out of 10. Top 10. 9. 8.5. 8. 9.5. Top 5 of all TNG. Okay, I went through pretty quickly. There you go. That was far less than I thought it was going to take. Yeah, cool. What's next time, Stuart?
What's the next episode of the review?
Oh, this one.
Well, I think it is Devil's Due, if I remember correctly.
I have good memories of this one.
Yes, Devil's Due.
Definitely a clever,
fun one.
Sci-fi premise. Like, I like a bit of sci-fi.
Yes.
This one had very little this could have been any show, ironically. I know you call that out often, but this could easily be Star Wars or Battlestar or Farscape. It's not very
That being
Star Trek.
said, this is one of my favorite Star Trek episodes.
But it literally could be any sci-fi.
True enough.
But that's not the point, is it? The way that Picard is, the way that those people make it. So yeah, as you guys know, not very much on Low Deck to talk about this week. We may or may not do TNG tomorrow, and then we'll do predictions as we always do with the dog. And then we'll be at Lower Decks before you guys know it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And almost at the end of Lower Decks season 1.
And with only 3, 4 more after this. 7, 8, 9, 10.
7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, 4 more.
When we get to the last 3, it'll be I'm sure that'll be a 3-parter of epicness, or at least like a setup and then a 2-parter.
Yeah.
And then Discovery, guys. Discovery. We get to discover who on Earth is captain, and do you care? Don't care who's captain Discovery. All right.
Anyway, guys.
Thanks so much.
We're hitting 2.5 hours, so thank you for watching.
And last super chat is SWTX Tracer. You're amazing, but you're all amazing. We love you all. Goodbye, Stuart and Gul Nasset, the cousin. Not at all related to Gul Dukat.
Goodbye, Samuel. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye. We love you. Bye.